was the universe of energy.
Rip.
My name is Claire Lefton. I am a film and journalism major at The Ohio State University, and I have a lot of interests. Some would say too many interests, and I like to talk to people about them. And when I do, they're like, hey, shut up, no one cares. Get off the stage, if you will. So I said, screw you guys, I'm going to make a podcast and do it anyway. So today, as with most of these, I assume, we're going to have just one topic, one niche, one interest I have, find someone I know who also likes it, and just, talk for a while and see what happens. So, my guest today, what is your name, and what's your deal?
I am David Culltion. I am currently not sure what I'm studying at The Ohio State University, kind of interim between engineering and some other stuff, and I have an admittedly very unhealthy obsession with the Disney theme parks.
Yes, our topic today is Disney parks. Trivia, news, who cares? It's just great.
Oh,
it's good
boy.
stuff.
Oh boy, the news. The Disney park news. So, for those of y'all who might not be following the Disney park news, the one thing that I'm very upset about at the moment is all the changes that are coming to Disney's the artist formerly known as MGM Studios, the artist soon to be formerly known as Disney's Hollywood Studios, and
Are they changing the name?
Yeah, and they might be changing the name to frickin' Cinemagine or something like that.
Okay, that's stupid.
Yeah.
But I do have to say that at some point Hollywood Studios was gonna not work as a name because all of the parks have stuff to do with movies, so having one specific movie park seems kind of unnecessary.
There's a difference between having to do with Disney movies and having to do with
I guess that's fair.
Industry in general.
Because it's more like a backstage thing because it's totally not a ripoff of Universal Studios.
Yeah,
it
wasn't. It totally wasn't. Michael Eisner pissed his pants at the news of Universal opening.
That's not what happened.
No, not at all. Michael Eisner was very level-headed and didn't do anything impulsively ever.
That's what comes to my mind when I think of Michael Eisner is the adjective.
Clear-headed, yeah. No, I mean, okay, so Michael Eisner, I have mixed feelings on him because he saved, he revived the Disney brand in a lot of ways. It was going down the toilet fast, and he came in and saved it, but he saved it because he, like Walt Disney, was a shameless capitalist. But that shameless capitalism came at a cost of everything he did for the Disney parks being dated really quickly.
My favorite, as a least favorite aspect of the worst thing that I love is his celebrity obsession, which is probably the thing that dated the parks the fastest. You have everything from, TV shows or movies that would have good voice actors in them to, I think the most egregious example of this, Superstar Limo.
Oh, God. Superstar Limo.
Do you want to explain Superstar?
Yeah,
explain
Superstar Limo, for those of you who don't know, and I'm also not the best on this, simply because I refuse to, gain a certain amount of knowledge about it, but for the uninitiated, essentially what it was during the Eisner era, Superstar Limo was a ride at, I believe, California Adventure.
Where else? Who else would care about that except for California?
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
But Superstar Limo was a ride at Disney's California Adventure where you were basically, contracted to go around
by
LA
a horrifying puppet manager.
By, a weird, puppet animatronic face mask demon monster manager with a weirdly New York accent for being an LA agent.
It's totally not a Jewish stereotype. What are you talking about?
It's like Jewish meets Romani meets I'm walking here.
So Watto.
I mean, yeah. Hey, whatever. Credits will not work.
That whole thing is a yikes. I give it a yikes.
I was having an interesting conversation with Austin about that, but I'll tell you about that later. Anyway, so you're contracted to go around LA in a limo and find all these celebrities in LA, and the celebrities were horrifying wooden plaster kind of animatronic but really not
Look,
caricatures
it's Drew Carey
of semi-celebrities such as Drew Carey.
Tim Allen.
Yeah.
Invite him to your premiere.
I honestly, aside from like Drew Carey, I can't remember who else like.
Oh, there was a really weird looking Antonio Banderas that I saw on a ride through.
I refuse to watch full ride throughs of that. I just can't.
I was just morbidly curious because I was like, how did this happen?
I tried to watch a ride through, but I just couldn't make it through the first like 2 seconds. It was so ugly and so but
yeah. Two of the biggest celebrities I felt like he used were Martin Short and Whoopi Goldberg. I think Whoopi Goldberg makes an appearance in every park.
Maybe now that he's gone, maybe that's not so much a thing. Although I will say, his celebrity obsession did give us the gift to this earth that is Captain EO. So
that is true.
So like,
yeah. And now he has BoJack Horseman, so good for him. Also, just for some background, in case you're wondering why we're mostly talking about Disney World, it's because we're both from the Midwest, and so Disney World is a lot.
Though, to be fair, we just spent like 5 minutes talking about California Adventure.
But talking about ride-throughs.
This is true.
So, we're not going to have that much about Disneyland, and obviously not the non-American parks, but we're pretty expert in the Disney World realm, because we've physically...
I know a decent amount about the
so he does.
Park. Decent, I mean like tiny, but like a little, like a decently sizable. I don't know. I know some of the like good shit at the other parks. Like okay, like Phantom Manor in Disneyland Paris.
I want to go to the Paris one so bad. Like
right.
If I go to Paris, I honestly. That's going to be one of the stops that I make.
No, I want to go to Disneyland Paris simply to ride Phantom Manor. Like, especially because it has the laugh of Vincent Price in its narration. And it was supposed to have Vincent Price doing the entire narration, but apparently he sucked speaking French, so they got some random French dude. So, but they kept his laugh. So they still have the Vincent Price laugh, and I would and it's like an even like darker version of Haunted Mansion with like a super dark story to it. And
they also have a lot of cool walkthroughs in Paris.
Yeah, this is true. Didn't they? Oh no, that was like Hong Kong Disneyland or something that had like the Cinderella's castle walkthrough with like the crazy, terrifying Horned King. No, the Horned King.
Oh, the dragon's in the Paris one.
No, I know the dragon's in the Paris one, but I think it's like Hong Kong Disneyland used to have like this walkthrough of Cinderella's castle or something like that, and at the very end was like this terrifying like Horned King animatronic from the Black Cauldron, and like if you look up videos of it, they're pretty low quality simply because they're like it's older and they got rid of it a while back, which makes me sad. But like from what you can see of this animatronic, it's pretty crazy, which is I have a weird obsession with animatronics specifically. In fact, I gave an entire PowerPoint once about the Yeti in Expedition Everest, which I always have a lot to say about because I love that ride and rip.
Yeah. So, a little more background. I got into Disney park stuff because I want to say the second time I went, when I was like old enough to remember it, I wanted to like prepare for the vacation and know what I was getting into. So I did some research, and then I missed it when I got back, so I started watching ride-throughs, and it just sort of built up more and more as I got more interested in it. And then eventually I also really got into people exploring abandoned places, and I think abandoned Disney stuff is some of the most interesting content, because the weird thing about Disney is that when they abandon something, they don't touch anything, they just leave it there. Which is super creepy and also really cool, because other people will like clear out stuff and then just leave the shell of the building. But when Disney is done with something, they won't touch it and they'll just leave it there.
Well, if they're replacing it with something, they'll obviously change it. But with things like Body Wars, they still have that pavilion and everything, and they still have like Body Wars and Cranium Command intact to some extent, I believe. I think the entire Cranium Command theater is still there with like all the animatronics.
No, it is, and it's really. I saw a video of someone sneaking in there, and you could see just the animatronic just still up there.
Yeah,
which is
I saw that video too.
It's terrifying.
Honestly, I think it's really cool.
No, it's
like
cool
I remember
and terrifying.
seeing that as a kid, and like I remember that ride, show specifically sticking in my mind, and like the animatronic being super cool. Like, wow, we're in the same room as this thing. Younger me obviously wasn't as up on Disney stuff, but what really started getting me into Disney stuff was, it's like kind of a long story, but essentially I'm a theater kid, so, young me was like, I'm going to be an actor when I grow up. But, my parents, knowing how unstable a career that is, were like, no, don't do that. No, please, God, don't do that. So I was like, so they, like, tried desperately to find, like, some other thing to sway me away from that would have some sort of creative outlet. And my mom at some point brought up Disney Imagineering, and I forget, like, the full steps she took to, like, sort of introduce me to the idea, but I started getting into it, and I'm like, this is super cool, and I love this. And at the time, this is obviously changed because I'm sitting here talking about this with Claire, but at the time, I didn't really know anyone else who was into this the way I was.
Mm-hmm.
So it sort of became my special, like, niche thing to learn about and to really explore. And so it was really cool to me, and now, I do the same. I love looking up all these things and keeping up with the news and looking up remnants of the past of the parks. And it's just kind of a cool hobby in a way. And, hopefully I can make that my job one day, because I still do want to be an Imagineer.
That would be so cool.
They have the best job in the world. I mean, they obviously end up getting blamed for a lot of the crappy stuff that happens at Disney, but,
Yeah. Part of what I admire about Imagineering and Disney parks in general, too, is that it's not just rides, because that's too easy. Like, they combine artistry, storytelling, and engineering together to create an immersive experience.
Oh, it's an entire experience, and people can snark all they want about, this is obviously so fake. It's so processed. They're just trying to brainwash you. But it really is impressive just how immersive it is.
That's the idea, is that it's not trying to be real life or a regular theme park. It's trying to take you into a different world, which I've heard doesn't work as well in Disneyland because there's more metropolitan stuff around it, but it definitely works in Disney World.
Oh, yeah, Disney World, if you do it right, you don't even have to see an inch of, like, normal Florida.
Yeah.
You just go, like, from the airport directly to the resort, and then you're there. And then when you leave, you go right back to the airport and get on, and you're back home. And it's like you don't have to see an inch of normal Florida, which is really kind of interesting. But, it is also super cool.
You don't have to drive past the endless pro-life billboards all around Florida.
Oh,
because I've only ever driven there, and so it's a fascinating drive because outside of Disney World and inside of Disney World, Florida are extraordinarily different.
And because like Disney World's in Florida, you sort of forget that Florida is a southern
Florida.
state.
You sort of forget how Florida it is.
State. Yeah, and you forget how Florida and how southern U.S. it is, and you're like, oh boy. But when you're there at the parks, we're obviously going to sound like there might be some of you watching. They're like, oh, they're listening. Oh, they're brainwashed sellouts. But it really is. It is like magic, and they do such a good job at like
sellout. I dare you.
I dare no. But like. Okay, so it's so cool just how they make you feel so integrated into the world. Like I remember, was it the last time? Yeah, the last time I went to Disney. I was super excited because New Fantasyland was open, and I hadn't been there like since before it had opened. So one of the nights, my parents and these family friends that went on the trip with us, they went off and had their adult dinner or whatever. So my brother and I just got to wander the parks. So we were in New Fantasyland, and we ended up having, as we jokingly put it, a super manly dinner at Gaston's Tavern. But it was so cool. It felt like so legit, and they had like the chair there, and it was decently empty. So
was there antlers? Were there antlers in all of his decorating?
Oh, there were antlers in all of his decorating.
What a guy!
I know. Gaston. But we still have like those mugs in our rooms and everything, like the Gaston mugs, and we had like these giant pork shanks for dinner, and like I forget what was for dinner, but it was just amazing, and it's so cool.
Did you have the gray stuff?
No, that was at
Be Our Guest.
Be Our Guest, which I didn't have it. I feel like someone in my family might have, but I know they definitely had something on the menu called the gray stuff. I'm like 99% sure of that.
I think it's like a moose.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. Because that's what it is in the movie.
You can't see her, but our friend and David's girlfriend, Elizabeth, is here, and she got really excited when she heard the word moose.
She's kind of a francophile, so... yeah.
You don't have to be silent anymore. They know you're here.
They know you exist. Now the audience is gonna like have this idea, like in the back, it's just like this shadowy figure, like France.
You
Shadowy
could.
figure sitting here playing on her hot pink tablet.
Yeah,
trying
you
to
couldn't
stay
be more
quiet.
wrong in your picture of Elizabeth if that's what you think.
Yeah, no.
Dark, shadowy.
Just like if you're imagining me as a manly man having like a manly dinner guest on Saturday. No,
You're my manly man.
no. I'm
Get
not
ready
even
for a
that.
lot of that.
No, we'll behave ourselves. Anyway,
Some of us will.
anyway, although, so we're talking Disney news. Happier news at the Disney World parks is, and it's not really news, but since this is a new podcast, we've obviously never talked about anything before. Getting off track. I do that a lot. No, Avatar Land at Animal Kingdom. So that I'm very thankful for. Partially because, again, going along with like how immersive it is insanely immersive. Probably more so than any other like Disney, like any land in any Disney park, because they had James Cameron directly consulting. I'm good at words.
I mean, that's what James Cameron does. He's
Yeah.
Sort of. Now his
insult,
function is like insult things.
Yeah. No.
I thought his function was to just go underwater and
That's
stay
true.
there for a while because he's bored.
Until he puts his foot directly in his mouth and goes, "Wonder Woman isn't a feminist icon. She's too hot." Anyway, keep going.
Sarah Connor's the only feminist icon allowed in movies ever. Which she's great, but Wonder Woman. Anyway, but they had him directly consulting on this, and for as kind of crazy as he is with the whole "I dreamt up this world and it is mine," it does make for a really good theme park experience. Like the movie is of questionable quality, but no one can really deny that Pandora has found a home in the Disney theme parks, and it's so cool. And what everyone talks about, that animatronic in the Navi River Journey as like as a total nut for animatronics.
Oh
like,
yeah, they're great.
oh my! But that one is so lifelike. Like you would think that was like a heavily made up person if you didn't look closely enough. They've managed to eliminate a lot of the uncanny valley on their animatronics recently, and it's really impressive. Especially when even movies with their endless array of CGI. We were talking about this last night. Movies with their endless array of CGI can't eliminate the uncanny valley quite yet, but Disney with robots can, and that is really
not the DreamWorks movie robots.
Although
with actual.
No, because that's
I
DreamWorks.
actually genuinely enjoyed that movie.
No, I actually
Me
love that
too.
movie.
It's a great movie.
I love it.
You have Mel Brooks just popping in like 2/3 the way through the movie. Just
Anyway, we're getting off track, but
you're always getting off track. That's how this friendship works.
That's
yeah,
true.
This is true. This is and you think this is bad? There are two more of us in our main group of friends.
Oh,
so
yeah.
and I'm sure Elizabeth and the two other friends are all going to be main guests on this
Oh,
podcast
absolutely,
at some
yeah.
point. Y'all are gonna find some.
Yeah.
Words for me and Karen.
Oh god.
I'll have to do more
So
research.
no,
for
we
this.
get Drew.
Oh god.
Oh lord. Do
uh,
I fall into the automatic friends clause?
No, it's
No?
it's
Okay.
just Elizabeth.
I've tried.
It's just
I've tried,
Elizabeth.
but I don't think he likes me. If you're listening, Drew, sorry.
Anyway, no, the
We love you, Drew.
but anyway, yeah, no, there are three more of us. There are three more of us, including Elizabeth, and they're all gonna be main contributors at some point, and I very much look forward to that. But anyway, sorry. The other thing though that excites me with Avatar Land is there are rumors floating around that now that Avatar Land is open, and this is rumors that has even reached the cast members, because my little brother went on a tour of Animal Kingdom last time we went to Disney. These are rumors that has even gotten to the cast members that now that World of Pandora's in, they have enough attraction to Animal Kingdom outside of Everest and kind of Dinosaur, kind of, to be like, hey, let's close down Everest and fix the Yeti.
Yeah!
Which is another thing I touched on
talk
in my
about,
PowerPoint.
Talk.
Okay,
Tell us
well,
about the
also
Yeti.
first, I am not an expert on Animal Kingdom. The only time I've ever been there was when I was 3. I know it from a picture of me and my older sister in a stroller with my mom taking a picture next to Safari Mickey, and she actually has this T-shirt from it where it's Winnie the Pooh talking to a tiger, and it's like, is that you, Tigger?
I've seen that. I remember buying a mug with that on it once.
So that's my familiarity with Animal Kingdom.
So
that's as far as that goes, really.
touching on so do you want me to like cover like the entire Expedition Everest debacle then,
yes,
or
yes.
all right?
Tell us about the disco.
Yes, I'm glad you asked.
I'm glad you asked.
Which I'm sure once Austin is a main guest on this chat, you guys.
Oh,
are
you're
gonna
gonna hear that
more.
a few times.
You're gonna hear that, but to
I'm sure we'll talk about The Good Place, and he'll say, "I'm glad."
y'all are gonna
asked
talk
a few
about
times.
like just TV in general. I know
Yeah.
you are because you're gonna talk about Good Place, and you're probably gonna talk about South Park.
Yeah,
But anyway, so to borrow a quote from Austin's book, I'm glad you asked. So for the uninitiated, Expedition Everest was opened in I believe 2006.
I remember the
Animal
Do you
Disney.
want me to
The
pull up
Dis-
your PowerPoint?
You can. If
I
you
remember
want.
the Disney 411 video on it because on Disney Channel they used to have those updates.
Yes.
411.
Yes, I
and they
remember
had
that.
Disney Channel
Three-
stars right, and they're like,
Wait, I
that
thought it was the
wild.
Disney 365.
Oh,
Yeah, it was the
It
It
Disney
was
365.
Disney 365.
I feel like there were both
365.
of them were.
411 might have been Radio Disney.
Oh, it
Oh
was.
yeah.
So they probably did it on both.
Yeah, no, I remember the Disney 365.
365.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Expedition Everest was a big event for Animal Kingdom because you have to keep in mind, Animal Kingdom opened in the same way that, let's say, a video game like Super Mario Sunshine was released. It was opened with questionable completeness. Let's just say it. Let's just say that. Again, like Super Mario Sunshine.
That's the Florida parks, though. I feel like they expand
yeah.
a lot, but sometimes they just don't always think all the
Here
way
we
through
go.
what they're
Your
about to do.
slideshow. The mouse done.
Epcot.
The mouse done goof.
All right, so I have my.
Though I
PowerPoint
will
on.
say, as one of the biggest Ravenclaws ever,
Woo!
Epcot is one of my favorites.
Epcot is so much
Because
fun.
I'm that dick who likes learning on vacation. I always want to go to museums and stuff.
We are riding Spaceship Earth, and we are going to enjoy it.
Yeah,
Ew.
I'm that person who enjoys the learning rides.
All right, so here we are. So Expedition Everest was first announced to the Animal Kingdom in April 2003, premiered for previews in January 2006, then officially opened in April 2006. And Expedition Everest was sort of a big deal.
It was
for
High School
Animal
Musical
Kingdom.
stars because of 2006. Sorry, keep
Yeah,
going.
yeah. But I don't think I had cable then, so I didn't really see that all that much. But anyway, so it was a big deal for Animal Kingdom because Animal Kingdom, up until that point, was kind of in the same pseudo park limbo as Epcot. It opened with a clear intention of what it wanted to be, like Disney's version of a Grand Safari.
It
Busch
was
Gardens.
not Busch Gardens.
It was Disney's not
kind of like
Busch
Hollywood
Gardens.
Studios. It was not
Disney's
Universal
not
Studios.
Universal. Yeah, so Animal Kingdom sort of opened as Disney's not Busch Gardens, but it being Disney, they still wanted to Disneyfy it, as it were. So the whole tagline for the park was animals past, present, and imaginary. So they had their safari areas and
so
rides
mad that Beastling Kingdom didn't happen.
Yeah, we're getting there. So they had rides like Kilimanjaro safaris. Then they were supposed to they had a dinosaur themed area, and then planned was Beastly Kingdom, which I'm sure you more Disney nerd types who are listening to this will probably know what this is. Beastly Kingdom was supposed to cover the imaginary animals part, and it was going to have sort of two sides to it: a good fantasy side and an evil fantasy side. And the good fantasy side was going to have sort of like a unicorn-themed roller coaster, unicorn-themed something. I don't know.
Elizabeth just got really excited.
Unicornzilla, then Unicornzilla.
Elizabeth is the epitome of the girly girl trope.
She's
in
pretty
lot
much
of
a
ways.
Disney princess.
She is a Disney princess.
Except I've never gotten to play a princess. I've played queens, I have played kings, I have never played a princess.
Well, you played a king. Anyway, another theater nerd.
Yay.
But Beastly Kingdom, its evil side was supposed to have Animal Kingdom's big e-ticket, which was a dark ride roller coaster with, basically that would meet up with a giant animatronic dragon at the end, which was going to be super cool and super intense.
Cool.
And it had all these super cool mechanics to the coaster, like inversions, and it was going to be a hanging coaster, so it was going to have all these cool and I think it was going to switch between being a hanging coaster and being a grounded coaster, but I can't speak to that exactly. But Beasley Kingdom never happened because budgetary constraints.
I mean, at least we have the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, though.
This is true.
Correct.
And funny enough, a lot of the Imagineers that were supposed to be working on Beasley Kingdom and stuff, they ended up getting laid off and went to Universal to go work on things like Dueling Dragons. So Harry Potter World, in a way, is kind of a product of Beasley Kingdom. Is partially a product of Beasley Kingdom's
That makes sense.
lack of existence. Because then you have Dueling Dragons, which became Dragon Challenge, which currently doesn't exist, a single tier. They got rid of it.
Why?
Okay, we're getting off track a little, but essentially there was an incident that happened where, do you know the core gimmick to Dueling Dragons / Dragon Challenge was the dual coasters launched at the same time, and on a few junctures came very close to each other for sort of an extra thrill.
Oh, no.
There was an incident where something on one of the coasters from one of the guests fell onto the other coaster and injured someone. So they did this. They shielded against this from ever happening by making it impossible for you to bring anything onto the ride. So they had like lockers, heavily enforced lockers, and metal detectors and stuff as you like came into the ride. And the other precaution was they no longer launched the coasters at the same time. So just in case that system failed, nothing could ever happen again. So with the core gimmick being gone, it was still a pretty popular ride, but it sort of came down to it was such a hassle, and with its core gimmick gone, there was no point of it being there anymore, so they're getting rid of it. But they're replacing it with some really cool stuff. Like Universal has patented this moving theater technology, but different than like something on like Ellen's Energy Adventure, where it's like the theater like becomes ride vehicles. It's like you're in like a box of seats, and it can move around on Kuka arms, basically, and take you to different parts of this theater. So that's going to be really cool. And there's speculation about that's going to be what replaces Dragon Challenge. But anyway,
we got really off topic.
Back on
All
track. So Beasley Kingdom didn't happen, and the placeholder that was put in its place was Camp Mini Mickey. And the dinosaur place kind of happened, but it happened in the form of Countdown to Destruction, which was, a decently sized dark ride that had the exact same track layout as the Indiana Jones ride in Disneyland, but it was also kind of off to the side, and the rest of the dino-themed area was, they didn't have a budget to go all out for it, so they turned it into a carnival-themed area, which is... The general consensus on that is just
that seems
lame.
Kind of stupid.
Lame.
Why?
Really lame.
Why is it Dino Carnival?
Dinoland USA. It's a carnival because they didn't have the budget for a full dinosaur theme area. Makes perfect sense.
What did they spend the money on? What did they go over budget? Oh.
They were still recovering from Epcot, mind you.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that was a huge money suck. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was worth it.
Others don't,
but I do.
It's becoming worth it. I'll give it that. It was becoming worth it. But that's another subject. But anyway, so as such, Animal Kingdom didn't really have a big e-ticket. The closest it had was Dinosaur, but that was also very intense, and really kind of sequestered and hard to find in the park. Like it wasn't until like my third trip to Disney, which I think was my last. I've either gone to Disney 3 or 4 times, and it was like either my last or my second to last trip to Disney that I went on it for the first time and like found where it was. Oh no, it was my second trip where my family like actually found it and went on it, and my third time like where I went on it and enjoyed it because I stopped being a little scared cat. But regardless, and I was like 12 or 13 when I went on it. When I went on it for the first time, and it still terrified me. So it was this very intense ride that didn't appeal to like kids and stuff. So Disney needed an e-ticket for Animal Kingdom, and they didn't have one for about a decade. But Expedition Everest was announced, and it was a big roller coaster meets dark ride sort of thing. And they had to do a lot of innovation for building this ride. So when they were building it, for example, they couldn't do typical scaffolding when they were building the mountain. I forget why, but essentially cause structural damage to the mountain if they did typical Or no, it was you couldn't really fit typical scaffolding around an asymmetric form like this mountain.
Also, just to clear it up, was this supposed to be based on the Matterhorn, or did it just happen to basically be the same thing?
It happened to be the same theming. It wasn't really supposed to have any ties to Matterhorn. Okay. So they had to do quote-unquote toothpick scaffolding for construction, which is a lot like it sounds.
That's never a good sign.
No, but it was like...
The word toothpick shouldn't be associated with roller coaster construction.
No, but they were really safe about it.
Okay.
So, like, they... Basically what they did, like, you can sort of see in the picture, our audience can't, but what they did, they had these beams that... They had these beams that came out, and they were sort of able to lay... platforming around onto these beams, and then at the end, all they had to do to get rid of it was just cut off take off the platforms, cut off the beams at the base of the mountain, and then they could just paint over it, and then you get like a full mountain. They also used 3D printed wireframe for the mountain exterior. They had to create a ride vehicle that went forward and backward in order to execute that maneuver. They had to bring in not one, but two 2-ton track switching mechanisms that operate in 6-second bursts. So, for example, you'll go to a peak in the roller coaster. The coaster will stop motion for about 6 seconds, and in that 6 seconds, this 2-ton mechanism unlocks, flips over to a track that connects to a different part of the track, and then relocks, all in 6 seconds, and then you roll back onto a different side of the track. And then finally, the Yeti. The big bad...
Okay, before you get there, I just need to ask, when you say they needed to do all this, did they need
they
to?
Didn't. It was part of the ride story. So, like, essentially what it is, you reach the peak of the mountain, and the track is torn up, so you can't keep going up forward, you have to go backward. So it was part of the ride story. So then they incorporated that, and they're like, oh, so we have to find a way to incorporate that, and that's how they did it. And that wasn't necessarily an unheard of thing in theme parks. Other theme parks have done that before, but theirs operates insanely fast and is integrated into this very well themed ride. And the last time I went on Expedition Everest, I actually looked back and saw it switch, and I had a geek out moment because I'm just that much of a nerd.
Okay. So get to the Yeti.
So finally, the Yeti. The Yeti, the big bad of the mountain, the protector who's supposed to ward off any unwelcome intruders. The Yeti was Disney World's largest and most complex A100 figure built to date.
I watched the behind-the-scenes video, and what struck me the most... Oops, okay, that was my sister. Okay. What struck me the most...
Hi, Claire's sister.
was... the fact that one of the Imagineers said, it has the thrust of a 747.
No, it does!
And I was like, are you sure you're going to be able to, like, put him in the ground? Because it didn't seem like they were too worried about his foundations.
Yeah, we're getting to that.
No, yeah, I just wanted to set up the inevitable, the inevitable downfall that even someone who is not an engineer could notice from their video.
The setup and the payoff.
And the payoff.
So this monstrosity, this literal monstrosity, was 25 feet tall, had 1,000 square feet of skin, quote unquote, put on it, with 19, I'm assuming pretty large actuators for its movement, and 5 feet of horizontal movement, and 1.5 feet of vertical movement. So, what went wrong here was Expedition Everest as the ride. The mountain was built in sections. It had to be. Just because, they couldn't make it all one structure because of, again, how sort of asymmetrical it was, and it was its very unique shape, so it sort of had to be created in sections. And the Yeti was its own section of the mountain. All of its mechanical parts had to be which included this arm that pushed it forward, up and down, with 3,000 PS it was a 3,000 PSI hydraulic thruster that recharges and I'm assuming that recharges in 20 seconds and, re-executes every couple of minutes. And, to quote this Discovery Channel documentary that they did on it, the thrust they produce is greater than a 747
Oh, greater
airliner.
than. Okay.
Yeah, greater than a 747
So, of
and
course,
that is a
these
direct
master
quote.
engineers handpicked to be in
Well-
the Disney World team
Engineers
take
mess
it-
up sometimes.
would take into account what would be required
Well,
to
they
keep
did.
it.
They did, and
place,
they
right?
tried to. But a glitch in their 4D visualization software is what caused the Imagineers to make incorrect calculations in the construction of the Yeti's support base.
Got it.
And, I'm not sure if there was a fault in double-checking or anything like that, but this minor glitch threw everything off, because the Yeti being its own section of the mountain, had to sort of sustain itself in, its own foundation. It didn't have the rest of the mountain to support it, for good reason. Well, I mean, it does, but not directly. So, with this incorrectly built base that it had, and it constantly pushing forward hundreds of times a day, with, again, the thrust greater than a 747 airliner, it cracked its foundation. So they had to shut it down and put it on B mode, or disco mode, as the fans call it, because essentially what they do, they flash a strobe light on it to simulate movement. So it's frozen, but with a strobe light on it, so it's disco mode, which is a whole meme now, and there's a website dedicated to it.
It's now
it's
Disco
hilarious.
Yeti.
It's now Disco Yeti, forever and always. It's not all bad though. Rick Riordan was able, or no, not Rick Riordan, but whoever wrote the Kingdom Keepers books was able to incorporate its shutdown into a plot point,
That's
because
awesome.
the spirit of Chernobog from Night on Bald Mountain is like hidden in the Yeti in that canon. So like he was able to incorporate. So it's not all bad. And that's why it's shut down. So the Yeti no longer operates in A mode, and hasn't really operated in A mode since a few months after its opening. It got shut down right quick, like that. So it got shut down real quick. So you sort of see where this is going. To quote Joe Rody, who is
The guy with the weird earrings.
how do I put it?
Yep, earrings there.
Yeah. The head of Animal Kingdom and resident mad genius wackadoo at Disney World. There's nothing this big that moves this fast in the world of animation. Plus an incorrectly constructed base. You get a bit of a goof there. You got Goofy in the corner going, yup. So
That was a spot on.
We done goof.
thank you. I pride myself on my impressions of specials. Ever since it's been operating in B mode, lest the Yeti actually take out some poor unsuspecting guests at a major
I
malfunction.
thought you were about to say porgs.
Oh
The
my
Yeti's
god,
gonna
Claire,
take out some porgs.
Claire, get your mind off the frickin' porgs.
But they're so cute.
They're
They're
really
an,
cute.
they're an evil marketing scheme, and
No,
you
they
know
were
it.
used to cover up puffins.
Puffins.
And it just happens that they have billions upon billions
If you're
of
gonna have
merchandise.
to edit out the puffins, you might as well make some money off of it.
Yeah.
Some money, okay.
Oh, like this is the first time Star Wars has ever done that on purpose.
But this is the first
Ewoks.
time you're falling for it.
Okay, continue on.
So
long
the
process.
Yeti has been down ever since, and they're not really able to get in to fix it, because to get the Yeti out of there for a temporary fix would require basically taking apart the mountain in order to get to him. And, they'd have to fly in a new Yeti, just like they flew in all the other parts in the OG Yeti. Or maybe the Yeti was shipped there in a trunk. I can't remember. Anyway, but I know they definitely flew in, like, the track switching devices, so they'd have to, take it apart and, get in a new Yeti and get it up there. So that would mean a major shutdown of the Animal Kingdom's main draw, its only e-ticket. But then, a few years ago, a beacon of light. And the choir in the background of angels just goes softly, hallelujah, hallelujah, as James Cameron walks on the scene and gives us what? The world of Avatar, Pandora, at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
I just want to address how building a physical Pandora took less time than making a sequel. Continue.
Oh no, without a doubt. But we're comparing the efficiency of the Disney Imagineers to the efficiency of James Cameron. which is like
Yeah, I think he's just hanging out in the
comparing-
He needs to
submarine.
go
Which
to
is like-
submarine.
which
He's
is like-
hanging out right now.
which is like comparing the talent of a Philip Quast to the talent of a Russell Crowe
Yeah.
in a certain role in a
And
certain.
he's still there. Anyway.
Yeah.
I can't
Someone
let
get
this.
my name.
I can't let you guys hear my voice without giving you my Russell Crowe impression.
Her
That's-
Russell Crowe impression is the most beautiful.
It's
thing.
great because it's not hard because it's terrible.
And I love it.
Stars and your multitude. Anyway,
So this beacon of hope for Expedition Everest is Pandora, the world of Avatar, because now Animal Kingdom has another draw outside of Expedition Everest. It has this insanely immersive land from the most box office lucrative movie to ever hit theaters ever. So now you have, and it really is impressive. All the work that Disney put into it, it really is impressive, and it really is fantastic. So it's not like it's a cheap substitution. This is like a really good alternate e-ticket draw. So now Disney has the not the motivation, but they have the means now where they could take apart Everest and get in there and get a solution going, to the point where it wouldn't completely screw over Animal Kingdom's profits forever and ever and ever.
Amen.
Oh my god. But the
You
real
say forever and ever and ever and expect me to respond with anything else.
good Catholic
she's
girl.
very Catholic.
I mean, I'm pretty
You're the one
Catholic
who went
too.
to Catholic school.
I'm pretty Catholic too. But anyway,
I am Jewish.
I
You'll probably hear me say that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually,
We
fun
found a
fact,
Jewish friend.
fun fact, sometime in December, I got my first bit of online hate for being Catholic
What?
that came out of nowhere.
What year is this?
I know. I know. No, it was like I made a post about the upcoming Illumination Grinch adaptation and how I'm
that
so
looks
dreading
terrible.
it. And there was some weirdo, because I made the post public, so some weirdo that followed me over from some page where I shared the original poster from or something. Some weirdo who followed me over from that page and was had the last name of Disney, and I don't know. This person was obviously some sort of wackadoo, and was just going on some sort of barrage against me for daring to insult this upcoming Grinch movie. And one of the things was, "You're Catholic. No one cares about your opinion." But
So
but it
weird.
was stated in the weirdest ways, and this person.
Are we so backwards now? Has Trump done this? Is this his fault?
No, because Trump's oh.
Have people gone back to old timey racism and discrimination, where they're just those
we gonna-
damn Catholics?
Are we going to be spitting on the Irish again and telling them to go back to their country?
The
'cause they're
Italians
white.
need to get out of Grandview
No,
Heights.
because they're white.
I came from a small town that specifically drew its city borders to keep the Italians out.
Yeah, good shit. But yeah, it was just kind of weird. And this was also a person that had Tommy Wiseau level grasp on the English language. So, but the real question is, when it comes to Disco Yeti, has Disney learned from this mistake? And in a word,
Why would they learn from
in a word, they haven't succumbed to their Yeti-sized hubris since then, in terms of making animatronics, which might be an indicator that they have learned their lesson, because there were plans for a Little Mermaid dark ride that had been around for 20 plus years. And the original concept saw a climax a lot like the movie, where the riders faced off against a gigantic Ursula, which, presumably would have been a giant animatronic.
That would have been so cool.
The final product of these ride plans came to be Under the Sea, The Journey of the Little Mermaid at Disneyland and Disney World. And the climax against giant Ursula was a tiny footnote, painted on the background of the Kiss the Girl scene. You just have a little painted Ursula that's a little giant painted Ursula on the backdrop with her skeleton showing because she just got electrocuted, and the skeleton lights up.
What a waste.
Yeah. So maybe they scrapped the OG climax because of the Yeti, but at the end of the day, it's always hard to tell whether Disney has truly learned from their mistakes of the past.
Disney's purest motivation, right?
Money.
Cha-ching!
Yeah.
I mean-
I was gonna do the some jerk with a camera thing where he goes, "Why did they do this?" I want to say altruism, greed. Okay.
I'm gonna say altruism. Yeah, if you guys are Disney, if you guys are theme park buffs, follow some jerk with the camera.
He's great.
He's really great. Free plug if you're listening, jerk, which you're probably not, but free plug, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
You're welcome.
Oh my
You're
god.
welcome.
Did you
Talking
see
about
this?
Disney.
Did you watch the Escape from Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that is my sort of rant against the Disco Yeti and how sad it makes me. But I am hopeful that Pandora, the world of Avatar, will save Expedition Everest and the Yeti from becoming irrelevant.
Oh wow, you made that whole thing a song.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's hope again, Catholic. So here's hoping that this ends up well for our boy the Yeti, because if not, I will be a sad David, and there will be
Yeti
other
boy.
sad people. Though I will say, if the Yeti does get fixed, that does put the Disco Yeti website out of a job. So, it's a double-edged sword, really.
Yeah. I guess it would be considered that. So, what are your opinions on the upcoming Star Wars land? Or World of Galaxy's Edge? Is that what it's called? Galaxy's Edge?
I don't know. So my opinions lay in the realm of, this is really cool, this is awesome. Why did you have to dump it in Hollywood Studios?
Yeah,
Why
I feel
are
like
you
it would fit in Animal Kingdom better.
not in Animal Kingdom?
Really?
No, Epcot.
Oh, because
Future
it's
World.
a place.
Either
Okay.
Future World or like
Yeah,
I
because they have
I
all
would
those
say
because they have several empty pavilions.
I would say cram it into Tomorrowland. But Tomorrowland is actually pretty full, and I don't know if they have the room to expand it to the point of a giant Star Wars themed expansion.
Yeah.
And, I know why they're putting Star Wars Land in Hollywood Studios, because Star Tours is there, which, I can't fault them for that, because Star Tours, in a way, did fit in with the original theming of MGM Studios / Hollywood Studios, because it was, before Disney bought it out, it was just a big famous movie franchise, and getting to step into that sort of fit with the theming of the park. That being said, it bothers me to no end how Hollywood Studios is devolving into Disney's IP dump.
I feel like their whole park is kind of IP dump, though.
But it didn't start out that way, and it shouldn't be like that. And, I know, I'm wanting it to just be another Universal, which, fair. I love Universal, and Hollywood Studios is my favorite park because of the whole backstage Hollywood vibe it has. But still, and it's good that Disney's trying to give it its own identity, but in giving it its own identity, it's also losing an identity.
I guess
it's
that
becoming
makes
more
sense.
generic.
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it sort of makes you question, why does this park even exist anymore? Because, Universal's off doing its own thing, Disney's, and, Eisner's not the head of Disney anymore, so
But
he's not
Universal
there
has started to steal some of Disney stuff with, like, Harry Potter.
Yeah, Disney has, and again, a lot of this is a product of Universal existing, because with Harry Potter, Universal has created the kinds of immersion that even Disney sometimes only dreams of.
Right.
Especially for such a lucrative franchise as the Harry Potter franchise. Like, that is a world that everyone who has ever enjoyed those books and those movies and those whatever, that is a world that everyone has always wanted to step into. And with J.K. Rowling having a direct hand in creating that, they pulled it off magnificently. Exquisitely, 10 out of 10. I think there is probably no more perfect experience in a theme park than the Wizarding World of Harry Potter. And so you had Disney sort of, after Eisner left, becoming a bit less wary of Universal and a bit more confident in being its own thing, and then Universal pulls Wizarding World out of its ass, and Disney's pissing its pants again trying to figure out how to get their guests back. And, you're probably right in saying that Star Wars Land in Hollywood Studios is probably a direct product of that. But even so, that it keeps Hollywood Studios from having its original identity and sort of gives it a very confused identity, because it still has the side to it that's kind of the general Hollywood industry, because you still have things like Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster on one side of the park, and then on the complete other side you're going to have Star Wars. So maybe, and I would say you could have like you could have the Chinese theater as a middle ground, but now they're getting rid of the Great Movie Ride to replace it with like Mickey's first ever dark ride. Hey kids, which bothers me. I have very.
I'm surprised that they haven't had one for him before.
I'm not, simply because so many other things have popped up as priorities beforehand.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that there wasn't some sort of thing like in the earlier days of the park, but very quickly, especially when Eisner took over, their priorities shifted very quickly to the point where creating something like... And I mean, they kind of have that, because they have Mickey's PhilharMagic, so it's not like the park has been completely devoid of... It's not like the park has been completely devoid of like Disney, of like Mickey themed attractions, but this is the first ride he gets.
Yeah. Also, I get why having the Great Movie Ride go is a bummer, but I do love the new Mickey cartoons. They have like my perfect sort of absurdist sense of humor.
I know, and I understand that. And for anyone who's on board with this, great, more power to you. I'm just a dirty purist who...
No, I understand. They could have built an entirely
This
new
isn't what
one.
Walt would have wanted.
It's not even a this is what Walt would have wanted thing. This is you're sort of ruining the integrity of this park with, getting rid of its central theming like this. And, they're renaming it to like Cinemagine now probably, which, ew.
Cinnamon?
Cinemagine is not the name of a Disney
Cinnamon
park.
roll?
Cinemagine is, it's just not.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Cinnamon, don't forget
Cinemagine just doesn't... Do you think I'm wrong in saying that? Cinemagine just doesn't feel like the name of a Disney theme
No,
park.
it sounds like cinnamon. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay.
What do you think of the interactivity level that is being proposed there?
That is the one saving grace for it for me. It's again, since Disney's currently pissing its pants over Wizarding World, the level of interactivity they're trying to incorporate, I love it. The more interactive you can make a theme park like that, the better. Because it immerses the guests more, it gives them an even greater experience, and if you're talking about, oh, this is like magic, having them interact with their world, especially to the point where, like, with the new Star Wars land, you're effectively going to be made a Star Wars character.
It's so cool.
Oh, it's a powerful thing.
So cool.
Like, I'm gonna get crap for what I'm about to say, but it's a good comparison. So right now, we're all working on a production of The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and I'm playing Frollo. And last week at rehearsal, someone was making a joke about when Frollo dies in the stage version, he like yells out "damnation," and someone made a joke about how corny that was. And my response was sort of, you know what? I'm a Disney villain. It just sort of, and
though it's like a weird different level of Disney villain where he's like a rapist.
Yeah, but after I said that, I sort of had, because I never said that before.
Right.
But after I said that, I sort of stepped back and had this moment of like, I'm a Disney villain. And like, no, but like,
no, I can imagine.
With the new Star Wars land, that's exactly what they're going for, and I think it's brilliant. To be quite honest, I think if they can effectively incorporate that technology, because that's like taking something like the formerly Kim Possible, now Phineas and Ferb adventure at Epcot
what about that
to 10 degrees higher.
Too?
Oh, the card game kind of too. It's that sort of idea, but taken about 10 degrees further, and it's brilliant. And that's the saving grace for them having Star Wars Land. But it's still going to bother me knowing that, what is my favorite Disney park is becoming not.
Do you think they'll have like creatures walking around?
Oh, without a doubt.
That sounds so cool.
To some extent, it'll probably be more like
we're gonna go to Star Wars and we're gonna talk to Jar Jar.
It'll probably be more like, oh look, there are stormtroopers walking around. Oh look, there's a jet. Most of them are probably gonna be like humans, but there might be some that are outfitted. They might have a few stray Wookiees walking around and stuff like that. Because they have Chewbacca there. They have
Ewok.
They have a. Oh my.
Are you gonna get to eat some freshly roasted pork?
Yes.
I am looking forward to the food that they will offer.
Some of the stew that Are you gonna get to milk the creature and then stare whoever you're with directly in the eyes and chug it down?
God bless Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill is a treasure.
He's a national fucking treasure. Anyway.
Somebody keep Nicolas Cage away from him.
Serious. I get that. No, but like I am excited. I am excited for whatever food they have, simply because Simply because with things like Pandora, the food has been
Yeah, it's
great,
been great.
and also World Showcase.
Oh, World Showcase has the best food. I
Last
was lucky
year,
the
all
last
21.
time. The last time I was at Disney, it was during a choir trip, and we happened to be there during the Food and Wine Festival. Oh my god!
My
It
mom and my
was-
aunt went to the Food and Wine Festival because my aunt is like an actual Disney member where
Yep.
she can get a reservation at any of their hotels. She can go to all of their festivals and everything. So she took my mom to the Food and Wine Fest without me last October.
Oh,
So they went on all the rides. They spent most of their time at Epcot, and Epcot is my favorite park.
yeah, we're both Ravenclaws for the record, so
Yeah.
that's why.
And I'm a Hufflepuff.
So they
I'm a
basically spent a week at Disney. And now Disney has, if you stay at their resort, you have this wristband, and the wristband gets you into your room. It gets you
The
you can use
magic
it to
bands.
pay for things. I want to go to Disney for spring break, but
Yeah.
I think it's too late for that at this point.
Yeah, you would get a pink magic band and you would love it.
It would be pink. It would be bright pink.
it
It
would
would
be-
match the rest of my bright pink stuff.
Oh my! You would wear all bright pink there, wouldn't you?
No, I would have some Buckeye gear too.
Okay.
Half my wardrobe is Buckeye
And the other half is pink.
and sparkles.
And sparkles. You are a 5-year-old.
That makes you a pedophile.
Hey.
Oh my god. Okay.
I stole that joke from our director. I apologize.
Wait, from Chloe?
Yeah, because when I was setting up for my birthday party, she and Jopo were there, and they were helping me blow up balloons, and Chloe was having fun with it to, the point where Jopo walks past, and he's like, you were literally 6 years old, and Chloe goes, and as he walks past, Chloe goes, that makes you a pedophile. Hey!
Oh god.
We're in a really weird theater group. That's
yeah,
how we all met.
Yeah. But anyway, so I am excited for the food because I'm a slut for Disney food.
Yeah.
So good.
Oh, what rides are in Pandora?
So you have the Navi River Journey, and you have Flight of the
Is
Flight
that
of the
a roller
Banshee.
coaster?
No, they don't have any roller coasters. Navi River Journey is like a quiet, serene dark ride. I think they were supposed to have some sort of more intense dark ride where you meet up with where you have to encounter the humans and stuff and they're trying to kill you. But
Gotta
this
get
is
that
just sort of
unobtainium.
unobtainium.
That movie is so dumb.
To quote the amazing Dom Ross, unfucking obtainium.
We went to an event where everybody gave PowerPoints on random topics.
Yeah.
So mine was how all of the elements in the periodic table are high school stereotypes.
Mine was the Disco Yeti, and someone else gave a PowerPoint on
There was
Avatar.
quantum dot theory at one point.
And I think it was my birthday weekend, so I was at home.
It got really weird really fast.
It was such a weird weekend.
But anyway, so they have the Navi River Journey, which is just like a boat ride through the Navi rivers. And you get to see all the sights and everything, and at the end you meet the Navi shaman, Shao woman, I guess. Anyway, and then you have Flight of Passage, that's what it is, where you, the whole setup is, you're given an avatar, and you bond with a banshee, and you go on a flight with that banshee, and it's a simulator, but you're riding on your own individual pod, and it's, as far as I know, it is low key and animatronic like Banshee.
Because I have a personal objection to simulator rides, because I feel like they're a cop-out for actually putting in the creativity to design a full ride.
I have mixed feelings on simulator rides. I think if you execute them well enough, they're forgivable.
That's my problem with a lot of Universal Studios, is that it's half simulators.
Yeah, and that's that's currently Universal's big problem. It's like they can crap out a new simulator every 2 weeks.
Because all you have to do is animate some footage and then make something move around a little bit.
Get
There's a
celebrity
reason,
to do
yeah.
your voiceover.
There's a reason that they have mini simulators at science museums for $3 you can do. It's easy to make.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that bothers me with Universal is the fact that they're crapping out new simulators every 2 minutes. So to the point where it feels really samey. But there are some simulators I'm willing to forgive. Simpsons Ride, always.
Mhm.
That is easily one of my favorite rides at those parks, simply because it's so well themed and it's so wonderful. It's so wonderful and fun and such a fun little throwback.
Mhm.
And you can tell a lot of effort was put into it. And on top of that, they had the entire Springfield area for me, which for me is in some ways even cooler than all the Harry Potter areas. Because, like, yeah, it's cool to, like, walk around in the world of Harry Potter, but I'm in Springfield eating at Krusty Burger and Lard Lad. Oh my god.
So hungry right now.
Yeah, me too. We should
You
get
guys not
lunch.
eaten lunch?
I have
No.
not. I had a late breakfast. That was it.
What time did you wake up?
Like,
I had a croissant for breakfast
9,
from the Union, and then I had class.
I had work at 10 today.
anyway, but the King Kong ride at Universal at Islands of Adventure, I love that. That's one of my favorites, and that's like a simulator combined with like actual physical sets. And that one I'm willing to allow simulators that are either
If they're
really
unique in
well
some way.
themed or if they have some sort of innovation to them. Like even the new Jimmy Fallon simulator, which is
Oh my god.
Okay.
Seriously,
Hear
a
me out.
Jimmy Fallon simulator?
Hear me out. So it is kind of like in terms of the simulator itself, it's kind of on par with the lower end, but thematically, it's fantastic. Like it has you going through like the NBC studio, like a replica of the NBC studio, and that's super immersive. And the way they do the queue is brilliant because they don't have a normal queue line. They have you like wait in sections of the NBC studio, and you go and you go when it's your turn, you go advance to the next section. And all the stuff they have waiting for you like along the way, it's really good. I wrote it in cold opening, and it's again the simulator itself, but it's worth it like just for the really cool like queue and theming and fantastic sense of humor that
That's
it
cool.
has.
I'm just not a big
So-
Jimmy Fallon fan. I think maybe it would have been cooler if they did like a SNL sort of thing.
But like
that
you
would be
can't
dated kind of
do
fast because the cast like
Yeah.
rotates.
Jimmy Fallon, I think the way they do it, it's pretty good. Like it's one of those things you sort of have to experience it. And again, it's not the best,
Right.
but it's worth it. It's worth it to at least go on it once. And it was also super cool for me because I've never got to go on something in a cold opening before. So I was like in heaven. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here for a cold opening. So it was super
When
cool.
he geeks out, he geeks out
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, I was really excited, and that might have biased me a little, but honestly, I think it's still objectively pretty cool. I'm trying to think if there are any other like you have Escape from Gringotts at in Diagon Alley,
Diagon Alley.
which it's a simulator, but it's not really a dark ride in the same vein as Forbidden Journey, but it's a partial roller coaster, so it still works.
Right.
So I don't mind. I'm kind of sad they don't have animatronics in it like they do in Forbidden Journey, but you know, on the flip side, Forbidden Journey still kind of wigs me out with like how intense it gets.
Yeah.
Like the
Is there like a giant spider?
There's okay. So what it is? First you're like just going through normally. Hermione flu powders you to the observatory, and then you fly around with Harry and Ron a bit, and then you see Hagrid, who's lost his Hungarian horntail, and you encounter an animatronic with the horntail that blows smoke at you. And then you immediately go to the Forbidden Forest where you're confronted by Aragog and like all of his children. And thankfully, Hermione Arania exhumates you out of there. And then you have a brief encounter with the Whomping Willow, which when I went, the Whomping Willow didn't move. And, like, the last time I had gone, I had, like, closed my eyes for all of the ride because I was so freaked out. So I was, like, willing myself to, like, I'm kind of a baby sometimes. But I was,
Confirmed.
wow, what the hell? Fuck me. No, but, so I was, like, willing myself to keep my eyes open. I'm like, I'm gonna experience this ride. And I especially wanted to see the Whomping Willow, because I didn't know until after I'd ridden the ride about the Whomping Willow, and, like, you can't get any good images of it in the, like, watching ride-through videos, so I'm like, I really want to see that Whomping Willow. So we're on it. My dad, my little brother, and I are on it, and we get to the Whomping Willow, and it wasn't moving, and I was like, are you kidding? I was, like, literally yelling this on the ride. I was literally yelling on the ride, are you kidding me? It doesn't move! And then you get whisked away to watch a Quidditch match, but then the Dementors attack, and then you go into the Chamber of Secrets, where Dementors are popping out at you, and it's terrifying.
Oh, man.
And, like, the entire time I was screaming, because they followed you there. But like you don't have. It's like there's an alternate entrance to the Chamber of Secrets. Like you get pushed underground and the Dementors follow you. But like you have Dementor animatronics. And, like, so you're back to physical sets, and you have Dementor animatronics popping up at you, and it's terrifying. And, like, literally when I was on the ride, I was screaming, Expecto Patronum, why isn't this working? And then Harry saves the day, and then everyone's happy. The end. Go get your shit from your locker.
Yay.
But it is...
Saves the day in a Harry Potter ride? What?
It is really cool. It is really cool, though. Like, it's terrifying, but it is super cool.
That's great. Okay,
Good
of
shit.
course, another Disney park fan question I have to ask you. What are your Stitch's Great Escape opinions?
Oh boy, not very good. I'm pretty much on the hate boat with everyone else.
No, I get that. What did you think of Alien Encounter Extraterrestrial?
I never got to ride it.
Neither did I. We're youngins.
I remember my first time I went there when I was little. My dad went off to do it by himself, and I was like, "Oh, it's a big kid thing." But then when I went, it was what?
That was
I'm
his
just
kid
picturing
voice.
a little version of you saying that's
That
a big
was
kid.
big.
It's more in my mind. Like, oh, it's a dad thing. It's a big kid thing. But then when we went back, it was Stitch, and we went on it, and I didn't personally enjoy it all that much. Partially because it was dumb, and partially because I hate those 4D
I hate them
chairs.
too. I hate them.
I love them, except when they have those things
When they poke
that
you in
poke
the back,
your back.
that is the worst.
It hurts. It actually hurts.
It
Why would
physically
you?
is
Why
uncomfortable.
would you
want
want?
people on your ride to be physically in
Yeah.
pain?
And the thing that's
And it's
also
brief and
weird
tiny, but
about
it's still, like-
Stitch's Great Escape is that it's like a child-friendly concept. I love Lilo and Stitch, but it still has the same ride mechanics as the horror ride. So
They tone it down.
well, it's not a ride; it's an attraction. But so like the attraction itself is really intense, but the subject matter isn't. So it's a really weird tonal problem.
They toned it down.
But
and
it's still
it
like
kind-
at that level. It's
it
still
kind
pretty
of
scary.
works. It kind of works. It kind of depends. Like, I was kind of wigged out by it when and I'm sure if I went on it now, it'd be fine. Again, aside from me going like, please don't poke me in the back, please don't poke me in the back, please don't poke me in the back. But like, it is kind of cool, like how they do it. But if they're gonna, I do wish they kept Alien Encounter so I could, be older and be like, actually, like, yes, it'd be freaked out. Because I wouldn't. But I
I
will
would have
say,
pissed myself.
me too. But I would have loved it. I think. And
That would have been a nightmare.
But
But
I will say, what makes me really sad is it's such a waste of that amazing Stitch animatronic. Because I remember when I went on it, that thing took my breath away.
That
It
thing
was
is
so
great.
cool. Apparently it has like sort of outdated and broken down hydraulic technology, so it's not the best. But it's still really good, and it's such a waste. And also, why didn't you get Tim Curry to come back and do another voiceover for the pre-show? Why did you get some random wackadoo? Why wasn't it Tim Curry again? Because, damn it, Disney needs
The
more
word
Tim
of the
Curry.
day is wackadoo.
Yep.
Are
But
we
like,
gonna have a word of the day segment on this podcast?
Only if we have one that keeps repeating.
yes.
I'm
Yeah.
sure when Austin comes on, it'll be a phrase of the day, and that phrase will be, I'm
I'm
glad
glad you asked.
Yeah.
He has other phrases too, but like that's his main one.
Actually,
But I understand why they had to get rid of it. It had a troubled history, and it's you want to draw in more kids, especially like now that Eisner's gone. Because Eisner no longer has his teenage son telling him what's cool.
That was another thing. It's both a 90s thing and an Eisner thing that no matter what you did, it had to appeal to the cool teens, and so everything's radical.
Because he was terrified of
skateboards.
Universe.
No, it's not just
but
it's not just an Eisner thing. It's just like a 90s culture thing.
But not
it's so
awful,
bizarre.
but not, there were good things that came of it, like Alien Encounter.
That's true.
But now
and
Stitch...
Videopolis.
What the fuck is Videopolis?
Videopolis was a dance club for teens.
Oh my god, yeah, that thing.
And that's how Churros got introduced to the park.
And now they have them in other stuff. Now Stitch is being replaced with some Wreck-It Ralph thing. And,
Well, that's good, because I like that.
I honestly hope they keep like a similar theater setup with a Ralph animatronic in the middle, because that would be super cool. But they probably won't. But we'll see.
I thought they would have had more of like a Sugar Rush racing sort of thing. Cool.
Maybe that's what it is. I can't remember, to be honest. I just know it's a Wreck-It Ralph thing in general. So hopefully that pans out well. And it's not like the Animal Kingdom it's not like the Magic Kingdom has to worry about a lack of attractions. Although speaking of Magic Kingdom, I do want to ask you for your opinion
Yes.
on the Pirates update, because that's.
I was about to ask you that.
Hey.
I think it's fine, honestly.
See,
I don't have a problem with it.
I think it's fine too.
Oh, should we tell them what the update is?
Yeah, for the uninitiated,
Don't know.
Pirates of the Caribbean is getting an update where the bride auction is turning into a gun auction with similar figures. So now you have like this like country
We
saloon
want
pirate
the
lady.
Reddit gun.
Yeah. You have this pirate saloon country lady like modeling guns essentially. And
I
it's
will say, I always thought it was kind of weird how you're in this fun ride and then suddenly there's sex slavery.
yeah, it's one of those things of like
Suddenly.
It was a different time when the ride was built, and they've made changes to the ride before.
Yeah, they've made like they put Jack Sparrow and stuff in there.
I remember riding it right after they added Jack Sparrow.
Yeah.
But with our country's current political climate, that sort of plays into the hands
And I
of
will
people
not
that are, like,
bring up Trump bot. Don't worry.
No, we had an agreement for this that we weren't going to talk
Maybe we'll
about
have a
the former
separate episode for
presidents.
that. A different time. We could have a whole other 3-hour thing on that.
Yeah, we agreed that we weren't going to have a discussion about the Hall of Presidents during this. But so in our country's current political climate, this plays right into the hand of everyone who wants to demonize the quote unquote PC police. And for the most part, I am a fan of the change. I do kind of understand the viewpoint of, the pirates were the villains, so why are we
celebrating sex slavery?
Well, it has two sides to it. Like, it's not like Disney's saying the pirates are the good guys.
Yeah.
But
that's the problem with anti-hero stuff in general, is that the creator can say as much as they want, do not cheer for this person, this is the villain. But people will always want Walter White to succeed in the end.
Yeah,
like that.
but no one, I don't think anyone celebrates, like, oh, look at the sex slavery scene. But you do reach a tonal dissonance when you have Jack Sparrow, the pirate who everyone roots for. And, he's like a good pirate. He doesn't partake in that slavery stuff. But even so,
We're thinking a backstory throwaway line. Third movie? I think that's the third movie.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But even before before that, it's implied he might have taken part in soliciting prostitutes, maybe.
Like you're surprised.
Yeah, no. So you do have this.
Either Jack Sparrow or Johnny Depp. He would be shocked.
So introducing the movie to the ride, you sort of have to make it a little more family friendly. When you have everyone rooting for Jack Sparrow, the pirate, who probably definitely has solicited prostitutes.
Oh, absolutely.
So changing the
But I think
option,
the difference is that they're
understand.
not prostitutes. They're women who have been kidnapped and they're going to be sold
That's
for sex slavery.
That's worse. That's a million times worse.
Yeah, I understand. I understand the side that's like, we don't have to change it. I can kind of understand simply because it's like, in theory, you should be able to separate and acknowledge that this is an awful thing, and that's just sort of part of how it was. And it sort of leads to the question of the ethics of Disney's cultural revisionism.
If they've been revising culture for this long anyway, when people make it's not historically accurate to not have that in their argument, I just want to say, any of the rest of that ride was super historically accurate. Come on.
Although
if you're gonna
to be fair,
pick and choose.
Though to be fair, it's still Again, it's very two-sided because there are other cultural revisions that are more whitewashed that people who sort of lean to a similar political side as we do have issues with. So
making things more whitewashed and taking out something that's probably harmful is, I would say there's a difference between that.
Yeah, I sort of question how harmful having that scene is, but it becomes harmful. It becomes harmful at the very least when you introduce elements from the movie. I didn't have an issue with it. I didn't completely have an issue with it, but I can understand why it's for the best that Disney's taking it out. And
it's a good thing. I think they probably also wanted to get ahead of it before people inevitably went there and wanted them to do it.
Yeah.
And were protesting.
They're being proactive.
Yeah, they're getting ahead of it.
And that was a smart move on Disney's part. And, especially because they knew no matter what they did, people would get mad about it. But the people who are like, oh, the PC police, whatever. get over yourselves.
They're
You're
still
you're
like
you're
chasing
changing-
after people
Yeah.
and like
You
robbing
you
the
still
town.
have all the rest of your raping and pillaging, just not with
Raid.
forced.
Remember, in the Pirates
It's
movies,
raiding
they had
and
to change it to
pillaging,
raid.
not
Pillage.
raping and pillaging.
You have your
it's
implied,
raiding.
You
and
have your
pillaging.
implied raping, your definite raiding and pillaging. So it's one scene. Get over it. And I know there are people who are like, "Oh, it's indicative of a bigger problem." It's not a problem.
Know what's indicative of a bigger problem? The thing we're not talking about.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, although I do want to talk about something kind of interesting close to the Hall of Presidents geographically. The great moments in history with the Muppets.
Muppets. We love the Muppets.
How did I
here.
know the Muppets were going to get brought up?
Because
we're
I've
talking
ranted
about
to you
Disney
about this,
and we're us.
and I've ranted to you about this. So Disney. So this is slightly off topic, but recently, the Muppets have made a rather interesting move in firing original Muppet team member and Jim Henson's direct successor as Kermit, Steve Whitmire. And there have been no really motivations given on why, though one can only assume based on what has been released about the event that it's because they low-key blame him for the failure of the TV show. And maybe I'm just, and that's just my own speculation. But I think they're sort of like, oh, so because he's Jim's successor as Kermit, he's sort of the face of the company, and the company's failing, so let's get rid of him. But now you have in the parks, you still have him as the voice of Kermit in the Great Moments in History sketch.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering if they're going to change that because they still have Muppet Vision 3D with all the original cast members.
I feel like they don't change things if they don't have to.
But with something like with the Muppets, where it's like the modern Kermit, maybe they'll have Bill Beretta do a dub. I don't know, because Bill Beretta is the one who's taking over. But that being said, on the subject, I just wanted to sort of bring that up as an interesting tidbit and interesting food for thought. But on the subject of the Muppets, there is talk of there have been rumors floating around about the elimination of Muppet Vision 3D, which I have to say,
Don't do it.
both as a Muppet fan and as a total purist, don't do it, because Muppet Vision 3D was like one of the last, if not the last thing that Jim Henson ever worked on.
Mm-hmm.
So you have this essential part of Disney's of the history of the Henson Company, and then by extension Disney, because Disney owns them. And if you get rid of it, you don't have that. That doesn't exist anymore. If they do get rid of it, I would hope they released a DVD of it or something. But even then, that's hard to do because you have physical elements integrated into the show, like the animatronics of Statler, Waldorf, the Swedish Chef, and Bean Bunny, and then the actual Sweetums costume puppet coming out during the show. Which, side note, whoever gets to do Sweetums at the Muppet Vision 3D, whoever has gotten to do it in the past and whoever is currently getting to do it, I am jealous as hell of you. Fuck you. I want your job. If you're listening. But you sort of wonder, are they going to get rid of it? Because Disney, as is evidenced by the closing of the Great Movie Ride and nary a word about what the hell they're going to do with the Wicked Witch animatronic, they're not always that concerned about preserving their history.
They'll probably just take the skin off and use it in Star Wars.
But it's the first ever A100.
They don't care. They don't care.
But
we care.
We care.
They don't.
So
David cares very, very
for
much.
the uninitiated, especially because I'm such an animatronics whore. For the uninitiated, the Disney's current model that they've been using for decades now of animatronic, their current model is the A100, and it's constantly getting updated. So it's probably in later versions of it, but its current model is generally the A100 type. And the first ever example of it, the first ever usage of that technology was the Wicked Witch in the Great Movie Ride, which is now dead. And Disney has not released anything on what they're doing with the
Ding
animatronic.
dong, the witch
So-
is
Wicked
dead.
Witch is dead.
Oh my god, I hate you both.
You made such an
You really-
obvious joke. How
really-
could we not?
How could you?
I
How
said-
could we not?
I said the ride was dead. I didn't say the witch was dead.
It was the implication.
Oh.
You were
You were
talking about the witch, and then the ride.
you said the ride
Anyway,
is
keep
dead.
going.
Anyway, But
Yeah.
Disney has not released a single word on what they're doing with it, which makes me worried that they're just going to scrap this seminal piece of Disney Parks history. And if they're willing to do that, I wouldn't put it past them to do the same thing with Muppet Vision, which would be really sad.
Yeah.
So, again, that sort of all feeds into my worries with what's going to happen to...
Permission to make a really stupid joke.
Yeah.
It may be a small world after all, but I hope there's room for all of the history that's in there.
That was
Get out.
beautiful.
Get out.
That was
Sorry,
that
I'll
was
leave.
No, you're fine.
that was beautiful.
But it does make me worry about what's going to happen with Hollywood Studios, sort of coming full circle. That I will. It's always been my favorite, and all these things happening that just worry me.
Yes. Okay. So, is there a property that is not in the Disney parks that you would like to see
Ooh,
in the parks?
ooh. I know. Okay, it's kind of in the Disney parks. I want a more permanent version of it. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm so
so glad Florida doesn't change the Haunted Mansion though
Why?
for the holidays, because the Haunted Mansion is such a perfect ride. And also, why would you change it to Nightmare Before Christmas during Halloween?
Because
it's a perfect Halloween ride too.
yeah. Well, the reason they do it at
I get it for Christmas. That's fine.
No,
It's
but
just...
the reason they exclusively do it at Disneyland is because Disneyland's income comes a lot more from annual pass holders
true.
who want different things like throughout the year because they'll go all the time.
Yeah.
So that's the reason they change it, and with Disney with more like random tourists coming in, they want to experience it in full. So like changing the ride like that. Nice.
This just in: Lin-Manuel Miranda and wife Vanessa Nadal just had their second child.
Yay!
Oh my god! Just had or
Just
is
had.
she
They
pregnant?
announced the pregnancy a few months back.
Oh, damn! All right.
Yeah.
So anyway, Oh yeah. Anyway,
Yes.
So I do want a more permanent nightmare ride because I'm one of those Nightmare Before Christmas nerds. So that is one of the See, here's the thing.
Do you want a Mary Poppins thing?
I'm good without a Mary Poppins thing, simply because it'd be hard to incorporate. Like, it was cool that they had the scene in Great Movie Ride, but outside of that, it's kind of hard to incorporate Mary Poppins into a full-on attraction. So I'm happy with
You don't get to take over a bank and cause a bank rush.
by wanting to feed the birds. No.
Redistribute the wealth.
I want to redistribute the wealth, Father.
Watch Lindsay Ellis' video.
Yeah, we are all
Mary Poppins
huge fans of
and
Lindsay
Mr.
Ellis.
Biggs.
The
socialism curious Mary Poppins.
Watch her videos on everything in general. Anyway, but Mary Poppins, it'd be cool, but I'm content with the fact that it had a scene in the Great Movie Ride, and I'm content with the meet and greets you get around, in Epcot.
I met Mary Poppins on my 6th birthday, and it was the greatest moment of my life.
My little brother and I, last time we went to Disney, it was my last act in the parks to get a meet and greet with Mary Poppins, because that's my favorite. Because that's my favorite movie of all time. I am a 20-year-old man, surprisingly straight, and
surprisingly,
thank God.
And Mary Poppins is my favorite movie of all time. Fight me. But
we were Mary and Bert for Halloween this year.
We were. So it was sort of my last act in the parks to get a meet and greet, and my brother tagged along because we were staying really close to Epcot, especially the World Showcase gate. So
also another thing I like to say about Epcot is my aesthetic, especially early Epcot.
Fair.
Love it.
I love Britain in Epcot. That's my favorite one.
Yeah.
Because anyway. But the best part was when we were waiting in line between meet and greets, between people, my brother let out this huge belt, and the Mary Poppins just sort of turned and looked at him all scandalized and was like, "Excuse me, sir," and it was one of the greatest moments ever. She looked utterly as if this were the actual Mary Poppins, horrified at the awful manners my little brother just displayed. So I'm good without a Mary Poppins thing. I'd love to see a more permanent Nightmare Before Christmas thing. I kind of wish we could get a Phineas and Ferb ride, although the Epcot experience is cool. And the only other thing, surprise, it'd be cool to have Hunchback incorporated somewhere.
That would be such a weird thing to incorporate into a park.
Well, they had the show at MGM.
Watch Frollo get thrown from a rooftop in the France Pavilion.
They had
Come talk about the abuses of the Catholic Church.
Come watch him burn Esmeralda at the stake.
No, but like you
Come
know,
watch an attempted rape.
well, they had like the 30-minute spectacular at MGM Studios back in like the 90s. But you know, if they could find some way, like if only it's just Quasi and Frollo walking around the France Pavilion a little more frequently, that'd be fine.
Not together, I hope.
I mean, probably
Maybe
not.
together?
Maybe together
Because that would be a
Disney's
really weird,
Well,
toxic thing
well,
to watch.
because Disney's weird about like having their villains.
Would he
and
be a face
heroes
character or
No, there are Frollo costumes that
No, I
apparently
mean
walk
Quasi.
around. Quasi probably wouldn't be. He'd probably be a suit. I know the Frollo isn't a face character, which is kind of weird. But it's probably because you don't have like enough older
Yeah.
dudes, tall, lanky, older dudes walking around to like do a Frollo face character, like you have like the Facilier face character. But I don't know. Quasi probably wouldn't be.
I wish I could.
I think there is a Quasi costume around there somewhere, and I don't think
Probably.
he's a face costume.
One of my favorite walk around characters actually, and it's not quite a costume, is Nemo. Like there's like this cool swimmy.
I haven't seen.
Let me try to find it.
I haven't seen that. I will say I love the Finding Nemo show at Animal Kingdom. That is another thing I'm a total slut for. In case you couldn't tell by my talking about the Muppets, I love puppets. So the Nemo show, it's so cool. I've actually never seen that.
Really?
Yeah,
I'm trying
no.
to find
So
some
cute.
footage of
It's
it.
cute.
It's really cute.
It's
yeah.
cute, but the Finding Nemo show at Animal Kingdom, go see it. It's so cool. It's so cool. Because the puppets are amazing. And my favorite thing about that show is the fact that Crush, you know, he shows up for one scene, but his song is easily the best song in the show, and it's so much so that it's become like the flagship song for the show. You know, Crush shows up, has his one-off scene, and that's it. But it becomes like the flagship for the show, and I think it's
Can't
hilarious.
find any footage of it like swimming around, but
So
it's great.
yeah, I love the Nemo show at Animal Kingdom. Have
Yeah.
you seen it?
No.
It's so good. Oh,
So,
it's so
yeah.
good.
If I had to put a property in there, so a little backstory on why I've seen this movie so many times. So my grandma used to live in Canton, and I'm from Cincinnati. So we would do a lot of long car rides to go see her and watch a lot of DVDs, usually SpongeBob discs with lots of SpongeBob episodes. But also Treasure Planet. I have seen Treasure Planet so many
Such
times.
a good movie.
No one ever talks about it. It is so good. It's a really beautiful movie. They use a lot of this cool deep canvassing technique. And I just think it would be super awesome
Oh, you
if they
freaking
had,
film
like,
nerd.
I know. If they had like a windsurfing ride, because he has that like surf thing, maybe like a
Dun, dun, dun. Also, can we talk about how Treasure Planet had like the most hype trailer ever with like
hypus.
with the frickin' with like a John Williams song in the background nonetheless. Like it's a really random John Williams song. It's like the land race from Far and Away.
Yeah.
But it's still so hype.
I
and,
knew Treasure Planet before I knew Treasure Island.
Same.
So so I watched it a
I
ton
was
of
like,
times.
what's this Treasure
And then
Island
when
thing?
then when I was in middle school, the junior high did a production of Treasure Island, and the only way I could understand what was happening was relating it back to Treasure Planet. And I was like, "Oh, that's the cyborg."
I
Also,
watched
like,
Treasure
Beware.
Planet before I watched
Also,
Muppet Treasure Island.
try to imagine like a silver animatronic with that arm.
Or
Oh.
Morph.
Morph
I don't
would
know
be
how
hard
they
to
do
pull
Morph.
off.
They probably have like
Morph
a
could
projection
be-
of Morph.
Could be a projection on the wall guiding you through the
Well,
ride.
although Morph could find a way to a projection that turns into like animatronic things, because in Shanghai or Hong Kong Disneyland they have the new Pirates ride where the skeleton like turns into the Jack Sparrow animatronic, which I'm still not entirely sure they pulled it off. I've kind of figured it out. It's like kind of Pepper's Ghostish, which is the technique they use in the Haunted Mansion. It's kind of Pepper's Ghostish, I think, but not exactly. It's like kind of Pepper's Ghostish and kind of a projection. But it's so good. But it'd be really cool. That'd be really cool. You're right. That'd be so cool.
What about you, Elizabeth?
If I could see anything in the Disney parks, well, I hold a tiny bit of bitterness towards Disney parks because when I turned 18, they were looking for young women who were 18 and up to play Cinderella and Rapunzel. And Rapunzel is my favorite princess, hands
Oh,
down.
yeah,
And
like a
Cinderella
tangle
was one of my
thing?
favorite princesses growing up. However, I am 1 inch.
No!
1 inch too tall to be a Disney princess.
They're
I am
so strict on their requirements.
I know.
And I get that it's like, you can't be too much taller than the kids, or you can't be too much taller than your princes, or
But
whatever.
1
But I fit
inch?
every other requirement.
She even has, you can't see her, but she even has eyes, like big Disney eyes.
Yeah, she really does.
Like, she looks like a Disney princess.
Thank you.
So like a tangled thing would be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm debating. I'm gonna
The
dress up.
snuggly duckling, they put it in there.
What?
What they put the snuggly duckling in?
Yes.
That's all they would need to do.
Just put the snug.
Duckling.
He
That's
hasn't
the-
seen
Oh,
Tangled.
whoa! Is that the bar?
Whoa!
Is
Hold
that
the
on.
Is that the bar?
Yes.
This guy has not
Okay.
seen Tangled. He also hasn't seen Inside Out.
No, though to be fair, not seeing Tangled is more of my own volition than Inside Out is. Like, I want to see Inside Out Tangled, I just kind of don't care about.
I've got a dream.
I do like that song though. I like that
That
song.
song is
Just wanna
great.
see the funny little
But, like,
dream.
I will say the need for something like the Snuggly Duckling is already taken by
Yeah.
Gaston's
Gaston's.
Tavern, which I don't mind because Gaston's Tavern is the shit.
I would like to see in coming years something
Or
Moana.
Lantern Festival. They'll probably
Moana would be cool.
they'll
Some Moana
probably
stuff,
do
just
the Tiki
because-
Room as that because they already have Maui there.
Wait, what?
My guess is if anything they'll change the Tiki Room to Moana.
I don't think they will, because as stupid as Disney can be, I think they've learned their lesson with changing the Tiki Room. I don't think they're gonna do
It
that.
was so bad.
Honestly, I
Iago
remember,
shows up halfway.
Iago and Zazu
see,
show
honestly,
up.
I remember when
Under
first time
new management.
I remember the first time I went as a kid, I enjoyed it because I was a stupid
And then as
kid.
you get older, it becomes more cringeworthy.
But like, I don't know. it
We're
was so-
taking over here in the Tiki Room.
Again, that's another Eisner era thing. It's got to be hit. But
The
like,
kids don't care
I'm
about birds.
I'm surprised he didn't show up in baggy jeans
Yeah,
with his
with a
slap
skateboard
bracelet.
and like a backwards
Sideways
hat.
hat.
And no, it's like,
What's
have you
up,
guys
fellow
seen
kids?
Gravity Falls?
no.
No.
I've been
Well,
wanting
I've
to
seen
watch
some
it.
episodes.
Well, there's an
I want to.
there's an episode. There's like sort of goes into Mabel's dream world, and she has a cooler version of her brother Dipper, and that's what I imagine.
Oh my. Well, no,
Let me try to find
it's like
Cool Dipper.
it's like oh god, it's like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
What's up, fellow kids?
What's up, fellow kids? Was that on 30 Rock?
Yes.
Yeah. Steve Buscemi.
This.
Yup, that's hip Eisner.
That's pretty much
Yeah.
it.
That's like the image Eisner had of himself in his head doing all this
It's
stuff.
too bad you guys can't see this right now. Although it's
Look
probably
up
for the
Cool
best that
Dipper
you can't
Gravity
see
Falls.
this right now.
Yeah.
If you could see us right now,
Yeah. You'd see Claire and I rocking beanies like the hipster trash we are.
It's mostly very cold.
Yeah.
But yes.
Oh,
What the hell was that?
We give such terrible high fives
We
on the
do.
first try.
you
We
have
do.
to look at elbow.
I know
Thank you.
do. Yeah.
Ow.
Here. Miss me high, hit me low. You failed.
They-
You weren't looking at
it
my
didn't
elbow.
You
work.
hurt my
I'm
hand.
giving play-by-play commentary on the high fives.
Elizabeth is very fragile to the point where
The
I
word
was.
my high school friends used was dainty.
She's dead.
She injured herself clapping.
She
by the
injured
way.
her else. I directed a number for a cabaret with our theater group, and it involved clapping. And she
She clapped too hard.
She majorly injured her wrist
It
while
wasn't
clapping.
majorly injured.
It was to the point where she needed a brace
Any
for like
injury
2
you
weeks.
get while clapping is a major clapping injury.
No, she needed a brace. She needed a wrist brace for and wrist wrapping for 2 weeks. It was a pretty major injury.
I get injured easily. I wake up sometimes and there's a bruise and I don't know where it came from.
She's very fragile, but she's
Yeah.
my very fragile.
Yeah.
Aww.
If you had to add a country to the Epcot Pavilion,
Oh boy.
see,
I'd want to see something that's like, there's a lot of Europe there.
yeah.
I think it would be cool to do Senegal or South Africa or
Well,
something
there
that.
was
They were gonna do Africa,
They were
but
gonna
the
do
only
Africa.
sponsor they could find was
The
South
South
Africa,
African
and it was
government.
during apartheid, and they were like, pass.
yeah.
But now that
So-
apartheid's over, maybe they should
Yeah, An
re-examine
African
that.
pavilion, if they did it right, could be really cool.
But the problem is I would like to say, I don't use this word lately, problematically, they seem to have Asia and Africa in the animal kingdom. That's where Africa belongs to be. animal park, and I'm like,
See,
I think that's more because Animal Kingdom is so safari.
That's
themed.
true.
Yeah.
So Morocco is African.
I
I'd say.
love Morocco.
Yeah, the Morocco.
The
Pavillion's
Moroccan
pretty cool.
I love the restaurants in Epcot. I love the Moroccan restaurant. We one time got into the Canadian steakhouse, and it was the greatest day of my life.
Canadian
And then we
steakhouse.
always get margaritas in Mexico. Although mine is non-alcoholic because
Wink. No,
Wink.
but it isn't.
it is non-alcoholic because I gotta wait just 15 days and 5 months.
Oh god. I'm the slowpoke of the group. I turned 21 after everyone else, so everyone's gonna be like out getting hammered, and I'm just gonna be sitting in the car as the miserable DD going, why the hell do I have to do this all the time?
And
Why the
anyone
fuck is
who's
this every
listening
weekend?"
not in America, you're right. It does suck, and you can laugh at us because I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
I agree.
It's
So I'm just gonna be the miserable. I'm just gonna be the miserable DD sitting there. Everyone's getting plastered at the bars, and I'm just there like.
But I feel like if you had to
I'll
add a
get you a
country,
strawberry daiquiri.
if you had to add a country, I feel like the easy way out would be Switzerland. So you could add the Matterhorn.
But you
But
already have Expedition Everest.
is there, so you don't need to.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like some of the other scrapped
think, like,
countries.
What was one I was thinking? Oh, like India would be really cool.
India would be cool.
Have like
we
a
need-
rickshaw thing and do like Indian food. I love Indian.
Indian food is so good.
India would probably be the best one to add just for a bit more diversity.
It definitely needs a little more diversity.
Yeah, I'd say put a little more Asia in there. Though, also I wouldn't mind other European countries, but probably.
But if they had rides, that would be better.
Yeah.
And Coco is probably going to take over the
Mexico.
Caballeros ride, but I'm okay with that.
I am totally fine. I still need to see it, but I am totally
Oh,
fine.
so good, because Three Caballeros was another videotape I used to watch all the time.
Oh,
but
I
it's
love it.
But Coco is so good.
I haven't seen Coco.
And
We're
also,
supposed to
Three
go see it
Caballeros
together,
is really
but-
outdated, so it would work really well.
I love the fact that Three Caballeros, that like the back half of Three Caballeros is just Donald trying to get laid for 45 minutes. On
Yeah,
his birthday.
that
literally
is
just
what happens.
It's literally just Donald trying to get
that's
some
an
birthday
accurate
sex.
Not the ride, we're
description.
talking about the movie.
That's
Yeah,
an
no.
accurate description of what happens in that
Donald
movie.
just
Yeah.
tries to get some birthday sex.
They
That's
go
all he wants.
to where
He chases women on a beach and like in a
So
in
is
a gazebo.
Donald Mexican officially, or
No, he just has those are his.
He
or
has-
Brazilian?
No,
he
those
has
South
a
American?
Those are his
Brazilian
cousins.
friend and a
No,
Wow,
thought-
how racist of that ride to assume all the South American birds are Mexican.
I think it's
I don't
I'm
know
trying to think
because
of, like-
what Jose
Because
what's his
Jose's
face
one of them is
is-
Brazilian.
Yeah, the green
The
parrot
green
is-
guy.
Jose,
And the chicken
Brazilian.
is Mexican.
Panchito,
Yes.
I think, is the green guy, and I think one of them is Donald's cousin. At the very least,
I
one
think
of
it's the chicken.
I thought they
Is
were
that
all
the cousin
cousins.
with the kids?
I thought
with
they were
Huey,
all
Dewey, and
cousins.
Louie's dad?
No, I thought they were all cousins.
Are they?
I thought they were.
I
all-
don't think that's how bird genetic works, but okay.
No, but like in the Disney.
Since when has
canon.
Disney cared about
Yeah.
genetic
Bird,
accuracy?
bird genetics.
But anyway,
I would like to see a Disney attraction that is accurate in its
Wonders
portrayal
of
of
Life.
bird genetics.
oh my god.
Universe of
Donald,
energy.
Jose, and Panchito. I do enjoy it though. I love specifically I love like the first half where it's not just boring Donald trying to get laid all the time.
Mhm.
But where like they're looking at different kinds of music.
And also like the short films at the beginning are amazing.
Yeah.
Saludos amigos.
Also that fucking bird, the Araquan, the that thing.
I'm so sorry you had to hear that, but yeah.
It's accurate.
It's accurate, is it not?
No, but we're all birds here. What was I gonna say that should go in there? Israel was another one that was planned, but they wisely decided that would kind of give the park a little political thing that no one wants to get into, because just if you don't know anything about it, or if you're not qualified enough to talk about it, just stay away from the Israeli-Palestinian conflict as much as you can. Just avoid it.
What the hell is
steer clear.
Israel?
Just steer clear if you can, and they wisely did.
Well, this is
Because
Vindicators
Disney is not qualified to take that on in a theme park.
episode. Claire's
The Vindicators.
What the hell? What the hell is
Are we talking about
Israel?
Rick and Morty now?
No,
That's
no, we gotta
another
stay on
episode.
topic.
That's
That's
another
another episode.
episode.
We gotta stay on topic.
What's another? What do you think Russia would be if they put it?
I was actually thinking of Russia. I don't.
Vodka.
lots of vodka.
Lots of vodka.
pierogies.
I don't think.
Was
Pierogies?
that a little Polish?
Poland.
Polish,
I don't think.
Slovak.
I don't think they would put Russia in currently though, because Putin.
Oh yeah.
Just like they probably wouldn't put Korea in.
Which Korea?
Wait. They just bought Fox. and Anastasia.
No,
And-
no,
Have you
no.
There's a really
Anastasia will always be a knockoff, a lame knockoff.
I thoroughly enjoy the music and I enjoy the Broadway show.
Well,
Everybody hates the Broadway show,
then
but
you're except for her because Ramin Karim was in it.
that's not the only reason Christy Altamere is a goddess.
But
Oh,
you're
God.
also wrong. Anyway,
I know I'm wrong, but I'm entitled to my opinion. You're the one who likes
That's
the
true.
original Broadway production of Jekyll and Hyde.
it's hot garbage, but
He
it's
also
not
likes
hot
the new
garbage.
Music Man. Anyway.
Oh
He
my
also
God.
likes the Broadway man. Matthew Broderick.
Why?
I'm sorry.
It's Wonderful World of Disney. It fits.
Oh yeah, I opened up a can of worms that I shouldn't have touched.
You know what? Fuck the haters. Wonderful World of Disney did good shit. Get off my ass.
Kristen
Um,
Chenoweth is a good Marion.
Do you think what kind of ride would they put in if there was like Russia?
Are there any Russian themes?
I don't know. It's just the problem is there are like no rides at Epcot. And that's
Most
the
of what
thing
we
that
as Americans associate with Russia is the Cold War
yeah.
and cold.
Yeah. I mean, if they wanted to do another Muppets thing, they could have like the big house from Muppets. Most
Oh
Wanted.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Great.
That'd be kind of fun. Tina Fey animatronic.
Welcome to the big house.
And then Josh Groban, the big house, run for your life.
And then just Danny Trejo, like actual
know.
Danny Trejo, just walking around.
Fuck off. But
But
that'd probably be the best thing we could get. It is really cool that Ratatouille is coming to France.
Yes,
Um,
finally.
I love Ratatouille.
I'm
love
actually one of the
Ratatouille.
people that doesn't mind that the Frozen ride is in Norway. I
Yeah.
don't care. All the people that were
I
like,
forgot.
Yeah, yeah,
Maelstrom was
Yeah.
my favorite ride. Fuck you. No, it wasn't. Maelstrom was
I
not your
don't
favorite
remember the
ride. No
Maelstrom.
one cared about Maelstrom until
Yeah,
they
you can
replaced it with
argue.
Frozen.
And you can hate Frozen all you want, but it makes a lot of money and the little kids will love it.
Yeah, I don't
Also, it's a
mind the
good
Frozen ride.
movie.
It is a good movie.
Not as
It's
good
just
as Tangled.
It's been outshined
it's
by.
better
Moana's
than
a million times better.
Moana's better. It goes for me. It goes Moana, Frozen,
I
Tangled.
just think that Moana's kind of generic. I mean not generic, but like I could
It's
see the
Disney
plot
generic.
coming from a mile away. And
But,
none
like,
of it was.
But to be
I
fair,
am
the way it
Moana.
deconstructed the Chosen One narrative is
yeah,
really
I guess
smart.
it did. I just didn't love Maui either. It was like
I see. I can understand, but I really enjoy Maui.
I see what's happening, yeah.
I mean
really
the
like
song is
Maui's
great,
story.
but it's just
I
when
like
he did the thing. It's like I call it a tweet, and I was like, really, we're doing that?
that was
A
one.
lot of those
That was
jokes were
okay.
kinda
That
eh.
was one. See, that's the only joke that really stuck out to me, though. Like in terms
You
of
have an
being
animal
out of
sidekick,
place.
you wear a dress, you're a princess.
Yeah.
But like Disney meta
Disney's
joke.
self-awareness
I'm-
is good.
I'm one of those people
I
that
like
actually
Enchanted
doesn't
for
mind Disney.
self-awareness.
Enchanted is a great movie.
Enchanted.
They should put Enchanted in the parks.
And
Think about it, you have a real life Giselle, just
It's
like
kind of hard to like.
because you can't
incorporate
get someone
that,
who
though.
looks just like Amy Adams. I read a whole article on it. I know it's not going to happen. But
That's
I
not
really
even
wish
that.
I
it
love
would.
Amy Adams.
It's just hard to. It'd just be hard to integrate. Because Disney being meta about Disney at Disney World, like in terms of Frozen would be. I don't know.
How
if that
do
would
I know?
like, and there are other
he
times at
loves
Disney
me?
World where Disney can
How
get meta
do
about
I
itself, but like
know
in this
he's
case,
mine?
But see, I'm actually one of those people that like that
They should
does
just get
that doesn't really mind Disney getting meta about itself. So like the princess line was fine to me. The tweet was the only like aberrant one in Moana for me. And
'Cause
like,
it's like that just dated the movie.
but okay,
Yeah,
but
instant, yeah.
also we still have Robin Williams Genie, who everyone praises as like the greatest thing Disney's
Yeah,
ever
it's really
created.
dated too.
So
but-
like, but
That's
everyone
sad.
praises that.
That's
So
sad.
like getting a slight taste of that doesn't mind me when
we now also have
and-
James Monroe Igle
and
for
also
Genie.
and I'm not bashing Robin Williams Genie. I love Robin Williams Genie. But like, when people praise the pop culture reference making Robin Williams Genie as like the greatest thing Disney's ever created, and then turn around and get mad at one like tweet joke in Moana, like
Yeah.
eh.
Oh, and I have a message. I have a message for California Adventure. California Adventure, you're a stupid park with a stupid reason for existing.
But thank you for trying to improve yourself.
Thank you for trying to improve. But why, in God's name,
Do you exist?
would you have a park trying to pair one of the best theme parks ever created, and they're just like, you know what sounds good? What if we theme it after the state we're currently in? genius.
It's like Epcot,
Genius.
but stupid.
Yeah, it's Epcot, but stupid. Because at least Epcot, you get to go to different countries. But in California Adventure, there's just other parts of California. Like, and if everyone who goes to Disneyland is basically an annual pass holder anyway, then they're from California, and it's even more stupid. Like, why? It's everything
But Claire, the giant tractor.
Oh, yeah, if you haven't seen Some Jerk with a Camera's retrospective about California Adventure, do that, because apparently when there's, like, this farm section, again, stupid, and it featured a large tractor that just sat there. You can't drive it, it's just a tractor.
You can climb in it,
You
maybe
can climb
for a
in
photo
it,
op.
yeah, for a photo op,
And that's it.
but otherwise you just got a
You
tractor
gotta
just
use
hanging
it and
out.
stuff, too.
I don't know, man. I think that tractor made it all worth it.
The tractor, yeah. So whatever happens to California Adventure, I really don't care. They can do whatever they want with that because
Though,
the
they-
original
they
theming,
are-
the original theming was so stupid that almost anything
They
else
are
would
getting
work.
better about it. Thank you, Bob Iger. I will kind of miss you now that you're stepping out. But
He's
I am
not stepping
excited
out
for-
now because of the merger with Fox. He's staying on for a few more years. To
Oh wait,
have
really?
that.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, thank you, Bob Iger, for being smarter than Eisner.
Urban gangsta flavor.
Anyway, but see, and the really weird thing for me was until Claire showed me this Some Jerk with a Camera episode on California Adventure, I just always assumed it was like the Islands of Adventure
No.
to Disneyland's
No,
Universal.
it's California themed.
No, because like I remember
So
I remember
dumb.
like the Toy Story 2 VHS I had when I was a kid. It advertised California Adventure, and it didn't advertise that it was like about California. I was just like, oh, it's California Adventure because it's an adventure. It's like an adventure park in California.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
So I was like, okay, this seems cool. And now I'm glad, like, I never got to go there because
Yeah.
Tiny Me would have been like, this is so.
The
lame.
idea for California Adventure just seems like I can't just. I don't understand who thought that was a good idea.
No
like,
good deed
like,
goes
Eisner
unpunished.
like
thought
it's
it was a
such
good
a
idea.
stupid. It sounds stupid, and then you learn more about it, and you're like, oh, this is even more stupid than I thought it was.
They wanted people to stay on property, so they're like, we'll bring
California
California
to the
them.
park,
Yeah,
and it's like,
and it's,
why?
And it was dumb. But now they're changing it, and it is sort of becoming more Island
I
of
don't.
Adventure.
When people are like, I don't want Pixar here, it's IP, and it's like, for Hollywood studios, I kind of get it, but California Adventure is so stupid
Yeah.
that I don't care what they do.
I don't
with it.
mind.
I don't
see,
care what they do.
California Adventure becoming an Islands of Adventure sort of thing. That works because the name still kind of works of like it's an adventure that's in like the state of California. It's not themed to California. It's the Disney park in California and it's adventure-y. So I don't mind that. I don't mind it the way
It's adventure, damn it!
Though, see, I mind it when it's taking away a cool theming that gave the park a unique and effective identity. California Adventure was theming that gave the park an identity, but it was not
It
cool.
was the lamest identity ever created.
It was stupid. It was so stupid. So the fact
because
that
Epcot may have tried and failed when it started, but California Adventure was doomed from the minute they said, "Why don't we have a California theme?"
and like
theme park
Epcot
in
was
California.
admirable because it's like they're trying to incorporate what Walt wanted.
I would rather have a fantastic failure than a boring failure.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Again, it's like watching something like.
A spectacular failure is going to be much better than a boring one.
It's like going in and watching like the 50th Insidious movie versus watching The Room.
Yeah.
One is gonna be
If you're gonna fail, do it at such a level that it's actually good again.
Yeah.
Like, at least I'll know you tried and didn't just not
Though
try.
to be fair, it could be argued that in this case, California Adventure is the more spectacular failure in a way, but it's still a boring.
But it was so safe, but also really weird at the same time.
Yeah, I don't understand. Anyway, so yeah, fuck California Adventure. Thank you for being smart, Iger, and turning it into actually good stuff.
With that, want to look at some news? I have
Some Disney news.
I have a Walt Disney World
I don't.
WDW
I'm
Magic.
pretty up on the news, so I don't know if this will be.
Let's see,
anything.
3 hours ago. Ooh, what do we
I've
have
heard
here?
about that bird show. I've heard
New
about
bird
it.
show. Meet Up. I'm surprised they didn't have an Up thing sooner.
This is an Up thing. This is an Up thing.
But it says Adventures Meet Up, a Great Bird Adventure.
It's just Adventurers Meet Up. Oh,
You get to see Senior Wilderness
Russell
Explorer
and Doug.
Russell and
Okay.
Doug.
Hello, my name is Russell, and I am a wilderness explorer scout.
Which will
'Cause I love
which
Up,
will
and I
replace
always-
Flights of Adventure, I
Well,
believe. Um,
I love Up, but the first time I watched it, I was with a bunch of Cub Scouts,
Mhm.
and we were all in the theater, and in the first 10 minutes of Up, all the adults are sitting there crying, and the kids were scared because the adults were upset. Because the kids didn't totally understand what was going on. These are like first graders.
Jose and Panchito
Panchito
will
alright.
join Discovery Island Carnival at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
By the way, did Disney Springs say what they were going to do with Pleasure Island?
Nope.
No, it's just sitting there.
Nope. I mean, see, the problem is with looking at Disney news is like a lot of times I can't always form an immediate like opinion on it. It's just sort of like, oh, this is cool.
But it's not until you see like players.
So you have a new senior VP at Disney, Jim
Jim
McAfee.
McAfee.
I don't know who that is, so I can't comment.
Do you think it would be cool if somewhere Disney made like escape rooms? Like probably Disney Springs would be the place to do it, but wouldn't that be really cool?
Yeah. Or
Like
downtown Disney.
That's the same thing.
I got bored.
Oh.
They changed.
Oh
Disney
yeah.
Springs for whatever reason. Stupid. I performed at downtown Disney when it was called Downtown Disney. Damn it, with my choir.
That's
I've
Interesting-
never got.
Interesting trip. And by the way, hey, ladies who went to the choir trip with me. Open letter to you. I don't know if you're listening to this, but maybe you shouldn't have dished me in Magic Kingdom on my birthday, because that was not nice.
You always have a bone to pick with like your high school people. when
Well,
they're
maybe
filming
they
stuff.
should-
Not all of us liked the people we went to high school with.
Maybe
David.
I mean,
I
I
have to
didn't
say,
like them
if you're
either,
listening to
but-
this and feel bad about it, maybe you shouldn't have treated me like garbage in high school, and then we wouldn't be in this situation right now. Also, no one wants to spend 2 hours in a gift shop in Epcot. That was a waste of our time. Anyway,
Oh, when you're at Epcot, you're
damn.
supposed to go and travel
God
around
damn.
and look at all of the
See,
countries
I didn't
and
like
get
the
the
people I went to
Impossible or Phineas and Ferb game. And
See,
then
I
just
liked-
run around and
I
see
liked
what
some of
they
them.
do.
I didn't like everyone.
I
went
liked
to
a good
high
amount
school
of people
with,
I went to high school with, but like,
even the jerks just sort of
they were,
became, like,
yeah.
benign white noise to me.
Emma and I knew when you said go get us fast passes for Space Mountain that you were going to be there when we got back. We could only get 2 fast passes at a time anyway. As soon as we turned around to get them, I was like, hey, I think they just ditched us. And then we came back and you were gone. Anyway.
I've only been to Disney with my family, and the most extensive Disney trip I did was when I was we were there over my 6th birthday. We went to every single park. I rode my first roller coaster, which was Goofy's Barnstormer.
Oh,
I went on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad 3 times. Like, at least one adult had to stay with my little brother. So I went with my mom and dad, I went with my mom and my aunt, and then I went with my dad and my aunt.
Oh, thank God.
And that was also the trip where I had breakfast at Cinderella's castle, and the guy called me Princess Elizabeth, and I got to meet the fairy godmother and all of the princesses, and it was the greatest day of my entire life.
Wait, are they opening a Club 33 at Disney World?
I don't know.
But I was also scared of the movie.
Yeah.
world.
They're eventually in Veranda at the Magic Kingdom, which will be home to one of the in-park locations for Club 33.
Cool.
And All Star Movies is refurbishing, thank God.
That's awesome.
Because I stayed in I stayed in Pop Century when I last stayed in a Disney hotel. And it was like, I like the theming, but those rooms, man.
It's a small world
I'm not sure. I think my favorite Disney resort I've ever stayed in was Wilderness Lodge.
In a family of 7, you can only afford the value hotels.
We stayed in the Polynesian resort.
Polynesian's cool, but it's the Wilderness Lodge that I really love.
I really want to stay in
Oh
Art.
my God,
I really
I
want to go to
don't
Art of
remember-
Animation.
I need to figure out what this
That'd be
there is one of the hotels, and they have a guy there, and his name is Bob. And Bob plays a rocking piano, and he has, like, call-outs, and you, like, respond to all of him. So, like,
Mhm.
Are you sure he's still there?
he has been there since the dawn of time, and he was there when my mom and aunt went last fall. I think he's still there. He's an old guy, but, like, one of his shticks is if new people come in, he'll say, "Where are you guys from?" And they'll say, like, "Canada. Anybody else here from Canada?" And the entire room has to cheer as if they're from Canada, too. So, like, when we walked in, they were like, "Anybody else from Ohio?" And this entire room erupted, and we were really confused.
That's what happens when you go to Hilton Head, too, is that everyone is from Ohio.
Oh
Hilton
my
Head,
God.
South Carolina.
Yeah. But, like, his show starts out really, really kid-friendly.
Oh God.
But by the end of the night, as the kids are going to bed, it gets slightly more risque. So he has a sing-along where it's, all day long she sits and shifts. All night long she shifts and sits.
Oh my God.
And songs like that.
Yeah, so I get
He
that,
did
like...
Big Rig when we went.
Yes.
I get that the Grand Floridian and stuff like that, they're like nice luxury hotels, but when I go, I want to have that cool theming in every part that I'm at. So that's why Art of Animation sounds good to me. Blizzard Beach keeps closing because of low temperatures.
Yep.
That's understandable.
They're
That's
putting first aid centers at the hotels.
Bless. As a lifeguard, that makes me very happy.
Yeah. Their permits are filed to begin Tron construction.
Yes, looking forward to that. That's going to be good.
Because
shit.
it's one of the China ones.
Yep.
There's like a Tron ride, and that sounds really cool.
Actually, funny enough though, so back on the topic of resorts real quick, my favorite resort isn't actually at Disney. My favorite resort is the Hard Rock at Universal. Oh my God, it's so good.
I've never been to Universal because we
Me neither.
Never. Oh, dude.
Because again, family of 7, you can only afford
I
to
know.
do so much.
Okay.
I love you,
The
Mom
last
and Dad.
time
we
I
have
went to
our-
Florida was when I was in 7th grade.
Okay.
So it wasn't
Oh,
open
that
yet.
looks so good. I want to make those.
Oh
Sorry,
my
there
God.
is a picture.
When
So
we-
basically, it's Pop-Tarts frosted to look like canvases with paint on them.
Okay,
love
when
Pop-Tarts.
Fan 5 Stick goes to
Disney.
Disney to drink around the world at Epcot when I'm finally 21,
Mhm.
I will request that we make a side stop at Universal because oh my God.
If I can afford that.
I want to go to Wizarding World of Harry Potter.
Have
It
you
wasn't.
not?
It wasn't open the last time I went to Florida.
And now you'd be there for not only Hogsmeade but Diagon Alley as well. And oh my God, it's so cool. It's so cool.
I know. I want to go. I want to get a wand. I know the specifications of my wand. I know my Hogwarts house. I just need...
See, I will say they don't have the exact specifications for every kind of one. They didn't have my exact specifications, so I got like the closest thing.
Yeah.
I got the closest. I don't even remember if I got the closest thing. I got the one that like felt best. Basically what I did was like, I joke around that last time I went to Universal, which was spring break last year. My brother and I walked into a wand shop, blacked out, and walked out with, or we walked into a wand shop, blacked out, and walked out with all new wands. Funny how that works. No, but like legit though, I spent like half an hour.
Celebrate soup at Disney Parks for National Soup Month.
Let's
That's
go.
on their website. I have to say, hey, Disney Parks, I have to say, as a journalist myself, on your news page, I feel like it should be more news items and not just like random blog posts anyway.
But I spent like half an hour in that wand shop, like trying out wands and feeling which one felt best in my hand.
January is National Soup Month.
For men and women, when you're trying to find a wand, you need to find one that's a good size.
Oh my
Right?
God.
Oh my God.
Wait.
But size doesn't matter.
Oh my God.
Right?
Oh my
It's
God.
not length that
Oh
matters,
my
but girth
God.
matters.
Oh my God.
I think we broke Claire.
Claire's the one who told me that joke.
I did.
It's the girth that matters.
It's yeah. I would
I'm
not
leaving.
know personally. Lots of food tips, it looks like on here.
If you want to go to the Canada Steakhouse, you want to make a reservation.
New specimens join the collection at Mission Breakout.
Ooh, that's cool. The Mission Breakout the Mission Breakout animatronics and things are really cool. Ooh, they're so cute.
They're very cute.
They're so cute.
They're very cute.
They're so cute.
Wait, is there the chance that they might have like Porg animatronics?
I mean,
someday?
maybe one day.
Maybe.
They have a lot of Easter eggs.
Easter eggs, but I think they.
I
Probably
think
say
Figment's in there.
I think they. Oh, yeah, he is. They'd probably say porks for the Star Wars thing, though. Anyway,
I can't believe Figment is in Disneyland, but not Disney. Well, he is, but no one talks about him.
Yeah. I'm sad that
New
like
Figment.
Dreamfinder thing doesn't. Anyway, so we're almost at 2 hours, and I'm starving.
Yeah. All right.
We
Well,
got off track a lot, but
yeah.
this was fun.
Okay,
This was
so do you guys have anything to plug?
When is this going to be coming out?
Probably soon.
So two things to plug then. From all of us, if you are in the Columbus, Ohio area, come see The Hunchback of Notre Dame at the Ohio State University.
He's
put on
gonna
by
be
Off the
Frollo.
Lake.
I'm gonna be in the choir / one of the gargoyles / a prostitute.
Claire's gonna be a fucking ninja on crew, a wizard ninja. It is March. It is February.
Last weekend of February,
Yeah,
first weekend of March.
February 23rd at 8.
Look
February
up
24th.
OTL Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Off
you'll
the
find
Lake.
the dates.
And
It's
also to plug my YouTube channel, Broadway Puppet. It's been a while since I put content up there.
We're gonna put content on
Elizabeth and
there.
I are working on videos that we're gonna make. So look me up on YouTube, Broadway Puppet. Don't watch my old stuff.
Do
Really.
watch the old stuff. It is so cute. It
That's
is the cutest thing you've ever
don't.
seen.
Just be on the lookout for new content, honey. Anything for you to plug? Oh. Oh, also, Claire just our friend group, which we call Fant Five Stick, which is a riff on the Fantastic Four movie that came out.
Fant Four Stick.
Which
There's a whole explanation
There's
to
a
the
whole-
name. It's a roundabout.
yeah,
thing,
look up
but-
Fant Four Stick with like just the word fantastic with 4 replacing the A. Look that up and you'll like sort of get an explanation. So there are 5 of us. So we're Fant Five Stick. We are also starting a new YouTube channel where we will be doing primarily like Let's Plays and like us playing Cards Against Humanity. Basically, us just hanging out and being friends, and you get to live vicariously
At
through
the
our
moment,
amazing
you
friendship.
get to watch me, the casual, try to play South Park Fractured But Whole.
Basically, you just get to live
We've also filmed some Cards Against Humanity, and Claire and I hope to, in the future, do Fant Five Stick Plays Dream Daddy.
Oh,
Yeah!
Everyone but me hopes to play that. Anyway, but yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's gonna be amazing, and you get to live vicariously through our beautiful friendship. So yeah, honey, anything for you to plug?
You plugged all the OTL stuff.
Mhm. Oh, also Dog Sees God. I wish I knew the dates for that.
Dog Sees God is...
We'll do
the
that
last-
next time when
We'll
we
do that
have
next
the...
time.
Dog
yeah.
Sees God is the last 2 weekends in March.
Okay.
They get 2 weekends this time.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's 3 shows. They actually have more performances, according to the OTL website, than Hunchback does.
Because we only get 5.
Yeah.
And they get 6.
They have
Damn
6. But I'm happy for them, because
Yeah.
Dog Sees God's going to be great.
Yeah, that's gonna be amazing.
And the people in it are very, very talented. We know so many talented people. We are so lucky.
Yep. Anyway.
And then me.
No,
Claire's
you're part of that.
talented.
You're part of that. Claire's fantastic. Claire, anything you want to plug? I mean, you obviously have this podcast. but
I'm good at the moment.
I'm
Oh, look up
Thank
the
you.
Off the Lake YouTube
Yeah.
channel. We'll
Yes.
be on there.
Yes.
we'll all be on there kicking ass,
Yeah.
taking names. But yeah, so thank you all for
Yes,
listening.
Thanks for listening.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Oh,
My
and Claire, thank you for
podcast.
having me. This was awesome.
Of course.
Thank
I'll
you for letting
definitely
me
have
talk.
you guys back.
Indeed.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. So long.